Welcome back to episode 223 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. I'm here with Papa Louie.
Welcome to the Gong Show. Two guys that can't speak French, but love hockey cards.
Troy, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. My son has day 2 of tryouts. So after tonight, there will be 2 more, and then he'll find out what team he is on. So that's all that I got going on right now. Pretty boring.
Papa Louie, I saw you about 20 minutes ago. We've been in the chair a lot today, buddy.
Yes, sir. Busy day.
Are you doing? You doing well? Your butt sore from sitting in the chair so much?
Yeah, great chair.
Okay. Sore butt talk over. We're gonna breeze through because this could very well be the longest Gong Show ever. And it's never planned that way. But I guess a little bit of forewarning there. 2 interviews show, so that's a big one. But I do got to mention maybe our Victor Hedman apology tour. So during our Tampa Bay Lightning Hobby Mount Rushmore, I made the comment that no other Lightning player, nobody besides Vincent Lecavalier, was even within a whisker of on the Lightning.
You got straight up called out in some of the comments. I got called out in the comments.
Called out. Our friends from Sweden, they were up in arms. I didn't know Sweden could have arms, but they were up in them. And they let us know that, hey, Victor Hedman, he's pretty good. So I'm like, oh, yeah. Went back and looked, and they're right. I was wrong. So, yes, Victor Hedman, I don't think I would change my picks, but he should have been more of a named consideration.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Karma swoops in today, and I see he gets named the new Lightning captain. So there's a little homage to Victor Hedman. Your guy, Kucherov, Troy.
Yeah.
Not captain material, huh?
Yeah, no. You can't act like that and be the captain of the team. I'm sorry. As much as I love it, you can't.
You can't have 2 defensemen and
True. Last thing before we get started is a reminder that our podcast, the Hockey Cards Gong Show, is a Patreon podcast. What that means is we rely on the support of listeners like yourself. Help us cover our show expenses, produce what we hope is more and better hockey card content, and more definitely tonight. This could be like an 11-hour Gong Show. Try not to, but it's shaping up that way. And then fun initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey hobby. You can support us via Patreon. It starts as little as $5 a month. Be one of the first 199 supporters of our show. There's like 25 or some left, I think. You'll get exclusive access to the Discord server and can muck it up with all the crew there. That pretty constant chat all throughout the day. If you want to join up, want to support us, you can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. If you're watching us on YouTube, there's a link in the description. If you're listening to us on a podcast app, there's a link in the description there too. And then finally, there's a link in our Instagram and TikTok profile. Since our last show, we have one new patron who's joined our out of 199, Drew 2510. Welcome. Thank you. Very, very, very much appreciate it. All right, Troy. This is going to start off an emotional show. You ready with the game plan?
I am. On today's show, we begin with the end of an era. Yes, we are on the final, almost greatest NHL player to wear a number, and this time it's number 23. We then check in with Sylvain for Chapter 4 of our Confessions of a Card Dealer. This is followed by Hobby News. Next, we are joined by Billy Celio from Upper Deck to talk about the new release of 2022-23 The Cup, and Billy also throws in some other nuggets that I'm sure everyone will enjoy. Then it's off to new product releases. We end the show by looking at some of our favorite hockey cards in the current Fanatics Collect weekly auction. And we end after that with any personal pickups. All right, fellas. Previously, we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers. So now we're looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners-up in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article. Finally, we are at the end of this thing. We are at the end of the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number. It's been a long road, but we made it. The almost greatest NHL player to wear number 23. per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article and selected by me is very fitting ending here. Minnesota North Star, Brian Bellows.
How are you feeling, Troy? Is your throat getting a little tight? Are you
Perklumped.
choked up?
I'm not.
Sounds like hockey mouth too isn't a new phenomenon.
Yeah, hockey mouth has been around. Bellows shows it right here. And someone out there might be going, where are they ending at 23? Wouldn't you logically you would probably end it at like 99 or somewhere in there. But because we're a Gong Show, we started with number 24 because we made it match our episode number. And by the time we thought about doing this, we were on episode 24. So
I don't know if he still does it, but there's a guy named Shane Norton who did the
Yeah.
Sports Card Nobody podcast.
Yep.
And
that's what we-
he would do for his episode, and he had a little bit bigger list. He would do like a multi-player.
Yep.
And so like it was episode 5, he'd like go through basketball, baseball, football players. I thought, oh, that's such a good idea. So I actually reached out to him.
Yep.
And I said, we really like that idea. Would you mind if we used it too? And he was very gracious. And little did he know we would do it like 9,000 times.
We don't stop, baby. Okay. The other runners up at number 23 were Milan Hajduk and Bob Nystrom. As a reminder, the greatest to our number 23 was Bob Gainey. So again, Bob Gainey also played. I know he coached the North Stars. Did he play for the North Stars? I know he coached them at one point.
I think he played.
I can't remember. I know big Montreal. I know he's a Montreal Canadian guy, but all right. Brian Bellows, left winger from St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Bellows was drafted 2nd overall in the 1982 NHL entry draft by the Minnesota North Stars. Now, I was a little curious who else was taking the 82 draft because I knew Bellows had a great NHL career. I mean, I was like maybe a toddler when he was drafted, so I was a little surprised he was the number 2 draft pick overall. And so I looked at the 1982 draft class. Bellows had the 5th most career NHL points and 3rd most NHL goals of all the players drafted in the 82 draft. So not a bad career for Brian Bellows.
Nope.
The four players that scored more points than Bellows from the 82 draft were from number 4 to 1, Pat Verbeek, who was the 43rd pick, Phil's guy, Phil Housley, who was the 6th pick, Dave Anderchuk, who was the 16th pick, and then steal of the draft, Doug Gilmour at the 134th pick was the top scorer from the 82 NHL entry draft.
Do you understand our Phil's beef on Phil Housley? Doesn't it seem like awfully random to...
Now, did Phil Housley play in Kent? Did he play for Ottawa or something?
Played for Buffalo forever, right?
Yeah, and Calgary. Oh, he did. Calgary, right? He played for Calgary. Hold on. I'm pretty sure he played for Calgary.
We're trying to
know why.
We're trying to make sense of Phil, which is
Well, I think maybe if he played for Calgary, it's a rival, right? With Ottawa.
Oh, maybe.
So Phil's gotten like, he did play for, he played for everyone. Never mind. Played in Winnipeg, Buffalo, Calgary, St. Louis, New Jersey, Washington, Chicago, Toronto.
Maybe he's mad he didn't play for Ottawa.
Yeah, maybe that's it. So he played for Winnipeg, Calgary, Toronto. So that's why Phil.
It's just like of all the players that you could not like. And again, I fully realize I'm trying to make sense of Phil, and it's not a fruitful adventure. But yeah, it just seems very random that he has a beef on Phil Housley. St. Paul's Phil Housley.
Yeah, we'll make him go deep into Phil Housley next episode. See what he says. Okay. Bellows played in 1,188 regular season NHL games over a 17-season NHL career. Bellows played his first 10 seasons with the Minnesota North Stars. He then played 3 years for the Montreal Canadiens. He then played 1 season with Tampa Bay. He spent the next season splitting time with Tampa Bay and the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Finished his career with 2 seasons with the Washington Capitals. For his awards and accomplishment, 1-time Cup winner, not with Minnesota, 1-time NHL second All-Star team selection, 3-time NHL All-Star game selection. For his career, 485 goals, 537 assists, 1,022 points. So Bellows is definitely in that class of 1,000 pointers that's probably never going to get in the Hall of Fame. Bellows made the playoff in 13 of his 17 NHL seasons, compiling 51 goals, 71 assists for 122 points in 143 NHL playoff games played. Best regular season of Bellows' NHL career from a point standpoint was his 89-90 season, where Bellows had 55 goals, 44 assists for 99 points in 80 games played with the North Stars. That would bug me to the end of time that I didn't get 100 points for that one season. I was one away.
Well, it's like the guys that retire with 592 goals.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really?
Just get there. Get to the next one. I know it's just our brains. There's no logical reason for it. It's just our brains like nice round numbers. During his NHL career, Bellows was known as a reliable goal scorer. In his 17 seasons in NHL, Bellows scored 20 or more goals 13 times. Bellows is the all-time leading goal scorer in North Stars franchise history with 342. He is second all-time with 382 assists and second all-time in points with 722. Oh, man, I totally forgot to put up all my Bellows picture. There's another one for our YouTubers. There you go, skating around. Probably losing to the Penguins in the Stanley Cup, it looks like. There's Badger Bob
jersey's
Johnson.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is the Stanley Cup. But right here, Badger Bob Johnson, coach, and the even though you can barely tell, it's a really bad picture. Okay. So after retiring, Bellows became a broker with investment banker Piper Jaffray and probably makes infinite amount more money than he did playing as an investment banker. This is like the only picture I could find of him like older. It was kind of hard to find stuff. But as you see, if you're watching on YouTube, he's with his son, Kiefer Bellows, who I just saw something. I think he just might have signed a new contract, but it was like a two-way maybe, if I remember.
Okay.
With Kiefer Bellows. I can't remember. Something happened, but
they look alike.
They do. They do. All right. Fun, interesting facts for our boy, Brian Bellows. Here, I'm going to put the second picture up since I never had it up very long. There we go. Bellows was described by Sports Illustrated as the hottest prospect since Wayne Gretzky during Bellows' junior career with the OHL's Kitchener Rangers.
Oh, I can't imagine he was happy about that.
Here it goes. This obviously led to some high expectations that were almost impossible to meet as Bellows started in the NHL. And guess what? He had a fine rookie season, if I remember right, but nowhere near Wayne Gretzky like. And so there was all this talk, he's not going to be anything, because there was a lot of expectations on him. But he had a fine NHL career. The Minnesota North Stars, who owned the number 2 pick in the 82 NHL draft after a trade with the Red Wings, wanted Bellows so badly and were willing to give the Boston Bruins, who had the number 1 pick, 2 players not to take Bellows. The Bruins agreed and selected defenseman Gord Kluzak at number 1. Yeah, Gord. I think he had injury issues that kept him from playing, allowing Bellows to fall to the North Stars. I'm curious in today's NHL if that's even legal. Like telling it, you'll give a team 2 players if they agree not to take someone at number 1. Maybe, it probably is. I guess it's.
You think Gord is from Guelph?
Gord
from Guelph. Louis chimes in. Troy.
Yes.
Kiefer Bellows.
Oh, there you go.
1-year, 2-way contract.
Okay.
With the Predators legend, Kiefer Bellows.
There we go. Thank you, Louis. When team captain Craig Hartsburg was injured partway through the 83-84 season, Bellows was named interim captain for the remainder of the season. At 19 years and 4 months, Bellows became captain at an earlier age than Connor McDavid, Gabriel Landeskog, and Sidney Crosby. However, because Bellows was an interim captain, McDavid is still considered the youngest captain in NHL history. Take that, I guess. But okay, that's all I got for him. Rookie card, here we go. Pretty classic. I love this card. 1983 OPG, number 167. Great North Stars jersey on the card. PSA 10 pop is 74, which is a lot more than I thought. Gem rate 20%. Card does not sell very often. Most recent sale of this card was for $100 via eBay, verified in Terra Peak on July 10th of this year. So there it is, North Star legend, Brian Bellows. Canadians legend, kind of. 3 seasons there.
And also greatest player to wear each number legend, Troy Iverson.
Yeah, he ended it. 23.
How do you feel, Troy? Are you sad? You crying?
No.
You need to take a break?
Got to figure something else out now.
And now you're in like content panic mode.
I'll
There we go. Well, good job.
just randomly start explaining like comic books or something.
We'll talk about different goalie gloves over time.
Let's look at When the Cheater Was Divine by Vaughn. And no.
Well, we go from the sad to the spiritual, Troy.
All right.
Welcome.
Whoops, wrong one.
Whoa.
The church bells are ringing, which means it's time for another chapter in Confessions of a Card Dealer. We're at chapter 4 already.
Mm.
In case you haven't been following for the past few months, we've been chatting with Sylvain Cormier, a burgeoning card dealer from a town in eastern Canada that he says is called Moncton, but we're not sure it really exists. We've been following Sylvain's journey in building his hobby business. And as part of his confession series, he's agreed to share the ups, downs, trials, and tribulations
Yep.
of life as a card dealer. So it's been about a month now since we've last checked in. And we were excited to speak with Sylvain again the other night. So without further ado, we hope you enjoy chapter 4 of Confessions with a Card Dealer. Just about how awkward we can make this. How long can we go? Oh, there it is. It's the Confessions music. Start it over. We're gonna roll through it twice, I guess. It means it's time for another Confessions of a Card Dealer. Okay, that's enough. We got to welcome back Sylvain Cormier to the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. It's been about a month now, but this is chapter 4. Your fourth.
Chapter 4.
There's four. Yeah.
Yeah,
4. Your fourth appearance on our show. That's pretty exciting.
it is. Yeah, I feel like the Undertaker at this point with my theme song.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. We did a little pre-interview because we're professional hockey card journalists here, and right off the bat, we got to get to some huge news in the life of a card dealer for Sylvain Cormier. So I'm going to turn it over to you and share with us and the world your big announcement today.
Yeah, and the timing just by happenstance. I knew I was ready to move on from my employment, especially with all the shows coming up and the, just gearing up for the season. I hit a point where I'm like, okay, these 40 hours a week at my employment is stopping my growth as a card vendor, as doing this full time. So as of today, this morning, I am no longer employed to a 9-to-5 corporation. I am fully on my own, and I'm a little bit scared, but I'm also very excited. To see.
So you're sticking it to the man. You're like, whatever. I'm done with this. I'm done with the corporate world. I'm going out on my own. I'm going to
exactly.
do it. Awesome.
Yeah.
You can't tell me what to do anymore.
I do think that though, that like for me, 9-to-5, I've always struggled with 9-to-5s. Not that I struggle with working a lot. It's just confined to a schedule. Like I just like fragmented work. It's like, I can wake up when I want. I like to wake up a little bit early, a little bit late, around 10 a.m. And then, I'll work a bit for 2-3 hours and then not work for 3-4 hours and then work again a little bit later.
So you need to move over to Spain. You take your afternoon siesta and you're ready to go back at it. Dinner's at 10 o'clock at night. I'm all for that. That's like my hours.
Or you could start a hockey cards podcast, work from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. and not make any money.
But I am excited and I'm not committing to anything yet, but I will say it here. Part of, having more free time is making better content. Like I do have an Instagram, but I don't post regularly. And I do want to up my social media presence and maybe even eventually start a YouTube channel and make, not long form conversations, but like, quick 10-minute videos about whatever topic I feel would be interesting to talk about. And I think, with my experience as a trainer and talking in front of a camera, and I think it could do pretty well.
Okay. So when you crossed the line, the point of no return, how nervous were you?
See, I had already committed to all these shows and I had no more vacation left.
So you're pretty much, I got to do this.
I kind of forced myself So
Oh, there you go.
yeah, I kind of had to, because if not, well, all these shows that I committed to, and like I couldn't make it, right?
Yeah.
So the thing that makes me the most nervous is obviously the financial aspect. Right now, the hobby was a supplement of my income, right?
Sure.
I do have, 3 to 4 months worth of living expenses set aside as a nest egg, and it's completely separate from my hobby
Mhm.
account. So this will be like to pay my bills and everything. So even if my hobby income is not as good as my job's income for the first 4, 5, 6 months, I have a nest egg saved up. So, but that's what I'm the most nervous about is the money.
Of course. Well, and we should mention too, this is years in the making. It's not
Yeah.
like 3 weeks ago you decided
Right.
to be a sports car dealer and vendor and then quit your
Right.
job.
Yes, that's very true.
So how many years again? Remind us how long you've been at this and
Going on
built
4.
your business to the point. So what 4?
We're going on 4 years. Yeah,
Okay. Wow.
it's like 3 years and 10 months, something like that. It was December of 2020 where I started. So yeah.
So have you kind of structured how you're going to go about your day? Have you sort of figured out what your work life is going to be like now that you're in the card biz full time?
Somewhat. I'm very much, and this is how I got started with hobby business. I'm very much a trial and error kind of guy. I like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. So, the first few months I might overdo it a little bit and say, okay, no, I need to tweak this, I need to tweak that. I have an idea in my head. I don't have it written down exactly how my day is going to look like. I have some things written down where, I hope this,
Yeah.
that works out, and my spreadsheets for what I buy and my inventory. But as far as what my day is going to look like, not 100%.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ironically, Troy likes throwing spaghetti at the wall and he doesn't care if it sticks.
Well, I laugh because I usually throw something else against the wall.
Ooh, family show. Last question on this before we get into kind of some of your upcoming ventures and travels. Was there like a specific point or a goal that you had to hit to give yourself the confidence in order to say, okay, now I feel comfortable in my decision to quit my job and do this full time?
Right. Well, so basically 2 things I had in mind. One was having at least 3 months of expenses covered.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that was goal number 1. I did have some investments here and there that that helped. I cashed a little bit out just to make sure that I had
Mhm.
that much. But there was that, and there was also like just making plays with less losses. So,
Oh yeah, that helps.
yeah. In 2021, 22, 23, I had some major plays where it was like, oh man, this was a loss because I held on to this for too long, or that was a loss because I overvalued it when I bought it. I still have those losses here and there, but they're much more few and far between as opposed to like last year, or even since beginning of 2024. I had a few plays where I lost quite a bit, and I mentioned my $500 loss to Matthews last episode. Yeah, I had a pretty big loss in February 2024, and I think that was my last like major loss. And then there was the Matthews, which was $500, like I said, and $500 when you're at a show, if you lose $500 on one deal but make $3,000 on the rest, it's still okay, right? So yeah, 2 things, mainly having a nest egg saved up, and the second is just being more confident in what I buy.
Hey Troy, when Sylvan was explaining the timeline, did it cross your mind that he hasn't had any major losses since Confessions of a Car Dealer started? Do you think we deserve all the credit for this?
There you go. Are you trying to get a cut? Or are you
Yeah,
yeah.
So I would assume that
finder's fee.
I would
Yeah.
assume, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, But as part of going forward is that you have to have at least some idea of a few streams of revenue, meaning you're
Yes.
not just trying to buy and flip, because that can go sideways even with the best intentions or the best strategy. And that in order to create security for yourself, you got to kind of play in a number of spaces.
100%. So there's not like buying and selling. It pays for a lot of my travel, but profit wise, I don't get that much in my pocket. Like I think last year, like for the whole year, my profit was maybe, I don't know, 5 to 8 grand. You can't live on 8 grand a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really, so mainly 3 streams of income. Dealing cards is one of them. The other is the service I offer with Slab Sharks as an affiliate and director of affiliates here in the Maritimes. So that's another stream of revenue. And then the third is me and a friend. We partnered up and we're getting things going to start, hopefully get a group submission service going on
Nice.
with a couple of the big graders. I don't want to make a formal announcement yet, but that's in the works too. So, with these 3 streams of income, and then, maybe YouTube money in 3-4 years, like it might not be right away, but I think if the sooner I get started, the sooner that YouTube money will start coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon money too. Yeah. If I get
when
like you guys.
when you don't hold your breath. I want to kind of transition because we had talked a little bit before about some big card shows coming up. You just did a card show. Montreal is coming up. But I think like for people to understand a little bit, because when we're at a show and you're trying to do a deal with someone like yourself, we kind of look very microscopically at the card versus, okay, the comp on this card is X. I want to try to get a deal for Y. But like, let's take the upcoming Montreal show as an example. Just ballpark it. What will it cost for someone like you just to go there? Like when it's all said and done, food, room and board, travel, all that sort of stuff.
So it can vary wildly. The last time I went, which was in May, my flight was like $300 Canadian return. Actually, it was less than that. It was $240. It was $60 each way plus $60 service fee and tax. So $120 each way. It was very cheap. This time around, but I'm also lucky that I have a relative that lives in downtown Montreal. I know the show's in Laval, which is like a good 20-25 minute drive, but to be able to stay there for free is huge, especially in Montreal. So I want to say the last trip to Montreal with the food and I don't know, it cost me around between $1,000 and $1,200 this time
around. Does that include like table for setting up at the show and all that too?
Yeah. That's everything included.
So you got to have 3 or 4 decent sized deals, and for the profit margin, if you sell $1,200 a card, it doesn't pay for your show. You need $1,200 of profit to start really at zero for that show.
Well, I do go to shows representing Slab Sharks and having I'm both there as a vendor, but also as a drop-off point for consignments. So if I make $800 profit on cards, but I make, a little bit more on commission from consignments, that will pay for it. Right. So it's also, it's my cards and the commission on the service that I'm offering. And I honestly, if it weren't for, the service that I'm offering, it probably wouldn't be worth it for me to go as often as I do. So you really have to offer the hobbyist service if you want to do this full time. I'm convinced of that. It's not just about buying, selling, and trading.
I think your table was money well spent because then me and Phil had a place to just hang out when we wanted to get away from the crowd. So I appreciate that.
Very important.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yeah. More than
Do you feel like you have learned more about so Montreal's coming up in October, like what cards to bring to that show that you are confident will have a good chance moving, or is it still a little bit trial and error? from that perspective.
So not necessarily. I am very specific with what I buy, and those cards usually do well at any show.
Okay.
So my inventory, I want to say, like, I have, like, in terms of number of cards, I have half of what I had last year. Value wise, it's probably even more, but like the amount of cards that I bring is half. I'm very picky with what I buy now. That was, I think that, like, in 2024, February 2024, when I had that loss, I'm like, okay, so man, you need to be way more picky with what you buy. And these cards that are low pop, but haven't had a comp in a year, they're very hard to value. And the person who's trying to move it to me usually way overvalues it, not because they're trying to be scammy or rip me off. It's because they genuinely believe it's worth that much. So now I only buy stuff that I know will move well and that I can look at a comp from 2-3 days ago, or, there are 3 or 4 of those cards that sold in the last 2-3 weeks. So I don't go to a show. I don't curate my inventory depending on the show. I curate my inventory based on me, what I want to offer, to sell.
Well, I think a point there that maybe we should hang on for a second is valuable does not automatically equate to desirable.
100%. Yep.
So you have to have both of those. It has to have to be where that there's a good amount of people that would be interested in buying that card. And part of that, and I think where it goes into sometimes rare is not good because people don't understand it. You have to recognize something, and it has to be a card that people have that aren't just learning about 5 seconds ago. It has to be a card they've been thinking about for a long time and coveting for a long time.
It has to be iconic. Like for me, I find Future Watch autos and Young Guns are very iconic. Some people will say, well, why is this card that's way overprinted, why will that card sell more for this that's out of 99? It's because no one knew that card out of 99 existed until you brought it to me. So I think that goes a long way. Iconic and recognizable goes a very long way. I think people underestimate that. And I did at first too, until recently.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, talk about, in our pre-interview, you mentioned kind of like season. So how, like this time of year, is this like the beginning of the selling season, or are you just talking about more the hockey season? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I meant more like the show season. Like I find during the summer it dies down, and it kind of goes with the hockey season. The first shows usually come on during preseason. I've had one small local show this Sunday, and then there's another one in 2 weeks. And it usually starts with the preseason for hockey. So when I say season, I usually basically mean anything outside of summer. Because the summer I'm not very busy. I do buy a lot during the summer, and I did end up buying throughout the summer 8 PSA 10 Austin Matthews Young Guns, and I'm already all out. Like, so I do still sell during the summer.
Yeah.
And I sold my last 2 at my local show, Sunday. Part of me was like, oh, I kind of want to keep it and see how he does with the captaincy, but also I can't be speculating as much. The only guy I really speculated on this summer was McKinnon. I just think he's undervalued, and it's still a risk on my part, but I'm still, if I get an offer, I'll post things on eBay. I'll send things to Slab Sharks to auction during the summer. I'll post on Facebook Market, like on Facebook Marketplace or some of the groups pretty often, whether it's summer or not. So when I talk about season, it's card show season, because I love selling on Slab Sharks. I love selling on Facebook. I love, bringing a good experience to the buyers in the summer, but nothing gets me more excited and just like, I don't know. I can barely explain it, but I feel so alive at card shows. And
yeah,
that's what I'm the most excited about.
Well, one thing you said there that resonates with what I've often heard from dealers, obviously I'm not one myself, is that you have to be more in love with the deal than the cards. So you can't fall in love with your cards as a vendor, because time isn't normally your friend, and it's in and out. If you can, where I think of like the collector mentality, or my stupid brain says, oh, I spent $100 on this card. What if it's worth $600 3 years from now? Where a vendor is like, I bought a card for $100. You'll give me 120. Sweet. 20% profit. I'm out.
Yep. And I used to think like that too, Josh. When I started, I did want to become a vendor, but I thought, okay, well, I can buy for, my show in a year and a half from now, and kind of put that aside, and that backfired hard. And I think the hobby is so complex that there are a lot of people who fall into this Dunning-Kruger effect, where they think they're smarter with hobby logic than someone that's been doing this for 10 years. I did it. I hear new people in the hobby do it. They say, oh, I'm going to do this, do that. And I'm something like, ooh, the guy who I sold my Line A collection to, I saw him post somewhere on Facebook and say, I'm selling one, but the others are going to double in value during the season. And I almost reached out to him and said, man, be careful with what you're speculating on, because this might not be the case. I think I still gave him a good deal. And if he flips it right away, you can make, 15, 20% profit. Yeah. But if he hangs on to it for too long, but I think everyone needs to learn this. Like, it's not, you can tell someone, you can beat your head against the wall trying to convince them. It's really, they need to get it. They need to experience it themselves to really understand that. So experience goes a very long way. I want to say about a year and a half into this, I had a friend ask me, she's like, you should quit your job and we'll get you full-time on cards yet. And it was enticing, but I told him, I was like, I don't think I have enough experience yet. I have way too much to learn. And because I have too much to learn, it's too much of a risk. So that's another thing to answer your question from earlier, was I wanted enough experience under my belt, and nothing brings you more experience than the big shows. And I have 4 expos under my 4 Toronto expos and a 5th one coming under my belt. That Toronto expos always level up my game, always. So experience goes a very long way.
I want to go back to the Montreal show coming up, and we actually haven't talked about this on a show, but Troy, you were saying this a few minutes ago, just before we got started too. Seems like they're really up in the game of that show by the guests that we saw. What? Felix Potvin, Timu Solani, Carey Price. I think Trey, I'm mute.
You're muted, buddy. Troy. I get to say it. Oh, it's the first time I get to say it.
Oh, it never fails. I'm like, Carey Price, there's a $1,000 ticket if you want to go that route for Carey Price, where you get tons of stuff. Not worth $1,000, but you get a bunch of stuff.
Wow.
$1,000. Yeah. Well, and my point there is that has to make you pretty excited as a vendor, knowing that they're investing a lot more resources into the show, and they're huge names.
Well, I'm hoping they make the space bigger. I'm panicking right now, thinking if I'm there, like there's a huge line.
Right. Well, you can come hang out on my table, Troy. I'm flying solo this time, so I won't have my usual partner. So if you want to sit and watch while I go take bathroom breaks, you're more than welcome.
I'll sell your cards for you.
Are you making an announcement, Troy? Are you going back to the?
No, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be tough, but we'll see.
I'd love to see you if you are, but I'll see you in Toronto regardless.
You also said you were at a show this weekend. Can you tell us about that? Kind of what your observations and learnings were?
Yeah, it was kind of funny, and I'm not saying this to brag or anything, but it goes to show that buying smart goes a very long way. It was in a small town about maybe 30 minutes from where I live, 40 minutes. And I want to say there were maybe 30 to 40 vendors. It was a very slow show. I want to say there was maybe probably about 50 people that came through the door. I sold for almost $7,000, and but it was like 3 or 4 guys who, they saw cards that they liked, including my 2 Matthews that I was hoping to hang on to, but I can't pass up a deal. And some of the vendors, the fellow vendors, were like, "Geez, Sylvain, save some business for us, eh?" And they were saying it like playfully, and they weren't being serious. But I said it's because of what I buy. The trick is knowing what you're buying, and it went a long way. So it wasn't very busy, but I made pretty well. I'm very happy. So I have a local show in 2 weeks, and I can't wait to see. But I'm like kind of sad that I have this much less inventory this time around, and I'm like, man, am I going to get like bought out before Montreal? I don't want to sell out. So it's exciting to see that my buying is paying off, because I'm like, okay, I'm buying the right stuff if it's selling this well at a small show.
Okay, yeah, that's my question, I guess, now, is just digesting what you're saying. So it sounds like you're learning, for at least you and your comfort level and kind of who you deal with, what's the type of inventory or types of cards that you seem to be able to make deals with and you can make a little bit of money on. Now, how do you make sure that there's a pipeline to keeping your supply enough so that when you go to Montreal or you go to the expo in Toronto in November, that you have enough of what you need?
Great question. I do have a friend who, and I think I mentioned this maybe last episode or the one before. I do have a friend who loves to grade cards. Like he'll ask me my advice. I'm like, don't buy this, and he'll buy it anyway, and then he'll grade it.
Phil. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, if Phil's the friend when you buy something you're excited about, tells you how stupid it is. No, tell me more.
But he just loves getting the cards graded, and he says this is fun for me, but he hates selling. So, but he's also a collector. So like he's a Leafs fan too. So lately he's been wanting, a PSA 10 of XYZ, including their canvas Young Guns. And so he adds like the big cards, like he's had a few Ovechkin where he hit a 10. So he's keeping those. So he keeps I want to call them like monster Young Guns, but the rest he needs to recoup his costs and make a little bit of profit. So me and him have a pretty good arrangement where, and it's usually around this time of year, where he will just sell it off to me for, anywhere. It depends on the card. Some cards I'll offer him around 20% comps. Others it's 30%. The ones I tell him not to buy, I offer him 30%. But I mean, like sometimes it'll be a $60 card where it's a PSA 10, but like all in with the card and grading fee, he's over $60. So he understands that, but he also says like, dude, this is fun for me. So if I lose on 10 cards, I'm okay making a smaller profit margin, like a smallish profit margin on 100 cards. So I bought from him, a few weeks ago before this show. But there's also another thing that very much helps is buying in lots. I bought out a few collections, nothing too huge. But also when I'm at a show, when I set up at a show, when people ask me if I trade, I say it depends. I used to say yes, but now I say it depends. And I'll pick out what I like when on the trade that you're offering me for my card. And it's usually like, let's say it's I don't know, I'll just use an example, like a Matthews Young Guns PSA 10 that's worth about $1,200 Canadian. If you can give me $12 to $13 Canadian worth of cards, including some nice mint raw Young Guns that I'll grade myself, and I'll gamble on the grade to that keeps it going, right? And I always try to, when I have so much, when my float gets to a certain amount, I'm always looking, to buy. And Facebook market, I buy a lot on the Facebook groups. When I'm not.
I have a question about doing deals or trades at a show, and I'm just curious because you're a very, very nice guy, and maybe we've talked a little bit kind of around this in some of our previous chapters of Confessions of a Card Dealer. But as a vendor, when you're doing a trade with a collector, like technically you have to win that deal.
Yes.
if there's a financial winner or loser, was it hard for you at first kind of accepting the fact that in order for, because they're collecting and doing this as a hobby, you're
Yep.
doing this to pay your rent,
Yep.
that it can't be an even Steven
Right.
kind of arrangement, that you're really offering them liquidity or a deal now, but you need to make profit in order to
Right.
be able to continue to do this in the future. So was it hard for you to kind of accept that in a way? Does that make sense?
So yes, it does make sense. And what was hard for me to accept was that people who come to my table don't already know this. The hard part is it's better now. I'm much better now. But my first Toronto show, I got slaughtered like with trades because I thought that people understood already that I need to win this trade about 15 to 30%, depending on what cards are on the table here. I'm on this side of the table. I can't like if I was trying to do what you're doing, I just bring a little Pelican case and go to vendors and try to trade without having to pay for a table, without having to pay for XYZ to set up at the show. So the hard part was really learning how to explain this to the person trading with me. And like you said, I'm a nice guy and sometimes I'm a little too nice, but this has really taught me to deliver my opinion and just the reality that I need to win this trade and I can't be, making even trades. Yeah, I just delivering that is
How
something
do you
that I've
do
had to
that? So
practice.
I come to you, I've got $100 card. I
Yeah.
want your $120 card. And I
Right.
say, can I trade my $100 card for your $120 card? Like, what do you say to me?
I'll usually say cash is my preference. If you want a deal, there needs to be cash on the table. Like if my sticker is $120, I'll sell it to you probably for like 105, 110. But if your card is worth 100, I'm going to sticker it at 100. I need to pay about 80 for this.
Okay.
So if you so I explained to them what I think this is the best way to explain it is I'm going to sticker it as at X. So I need to value this at Y if you're giving it to me. So
Louis kind of chimed in with the question, which I thought is really good. Do you have like a standard rule of thumb for like cash value versus trade value? So to say, well, I'll take $100 cash or it's $120 trade value, something like that.
not necessarily like I don't necessarily premeditate it. Like it really depends on what they're offering me. If what's on the table, if they offer me a card I know I can move at that show, like at the same show or on the same day, I might give them a little better of a value. Like if it's a Bedard Young Guns that's raw, and I think right now they go for around $400 raw. I might give him a better deal because I know that Bedard's going to be gone in 10 minutes. So it
Sure.
really depends on what's being offered. And I'm still like I want to say this is something that'll always be a work in progress. I'm never fully going to master it, but that's how I explain it is I'm stickering it at this. I need to pay this much for it in trade value.
Yeah, I suppose again, it just falls under lessons learned and why it's
Yes.
taken you almost 4 years to get here. So about how many shows a week or a month are you going to try to in order to kind of make the money that you need to? Have
Right.
you kind of thought of it that way? It's like, well, I have to be on the road a couple weekends a month, or how are you approaching that?
Right. So here in my region, in New Brunswick, we're a weird province where we're not very big, but we have 3 cities where like we should have one big city instead of 3 small
Mhm.
cities. So there are in Moncton there is a monthly show, but Fredericton and St. John also has a monthly show, which are about an hour and a half away from Moncton. There's also it's called Maritime Collectibles Show, and it's mainly Pokemon focused, but there's starting to be more hockey. So that's also a monthly show here in Moncton. So I want to say when I'm not traveling at the bigger shows, which is usually around October, November, and then, again in the spring. I want to say maybe, 2 or 3 out of 4 weekends I'll be at a show, and it's usually from 9 to 2 or something. So it's nothing too crazy. So I expect, to kind of do the opposite of what a typical 9 to 5 person does, where on the weekends, they take time off. And I expect to be very busy on weekends because there's a lot of prep. So I'll be busy the Friday prepping, I'll be busy Saturday selling, and then on a Sunday, I'll be busy kind of doing the math and putting my inventory back and just making sure no one stole anything and, working on my spreadsheets. And then on weekdays, I'll check my phone and see if anyone has anything that they're willing to sell me, but it's pretty chill. It's a lot more chill.
Now, this is only in Canada too. We know at some point, do you ever see yourself like coming to the National or something like that here in the States and trying to work that
Yes.
into your plan?
Totally. Probably not to set up, but to buy. I hear that at the National, the hockey that's there is like are good deals. And so, I'd like to go and buy bulk from 2 or 3 hockey vendors at the bigger shows. So that's definitely something that I want to do. I would like to go to Chicago in 2025. It's Chicago in 2025, right? I think. I'm
Yeah.
sure it is. So I would like, that's definitely on my radar. And if ever, but it can be if, and I'm not gonna, I'm not necessarily committing to this, or I'm not even implying that they need me. But if Slab Sharks or any other company that I'm affiliated with needs me to represent them at the National, I'll happily do something like that. Like I said, it's not necessarily something that's in the works or that I even talked about to anyone, but I'm always
Sure.
open to doing something like that. So,
Mhm.
so I would love to go to buy, and also maybe even offer a consignment service, not necessarily as at a booth, but I can explain, look, I'm stopping in Toronto on my way back. I can drop these off and make sure that they're auctioned for you. So something like that, like a pickup service, maybe at the National. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing an idea here, but definitely going to buy is on my radar.
That's awesome. And again, do you remember the dates on the Montreal show? Is that like
It's
October?
like the one that's coming up?
Yeah.
4th through 6th.
Yeah.
4th is
October 4th
okay.
through
So
6th,
great.
yeah.
So we'll chapter 5 will be after that, and then we'll get your feedback, and we'll get a testimonial of your experience there. Looking forward to that. And
Well, the
a
weekend
lot of
after is the Van City card show. So I'm going to that as well.
So yeah, so maybe we'll talk to you after that, and then really have a lot to talk about. It's so exciting though, and
It is.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Confident you'll do well. You have to do well because people like the segment, and if you're not a car dealer, then
It defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Confessions
Totally.
of a failed car dealer. 25 minutes of bitterness once a month. We don't
What
we
not
don't-
to do. Yeah.
We don't
So
want
I'm going to actually be gone. I'm gone for 2 whole months, but I mean, obviously we can do, I'll do it from my phone, but my video and audio quality won't be as
Wait a
good.
minute. You're not going to be gone from, you're not going to be home for 2 months?
2 whole months. Yeah. So I'm going to be in Montreal, Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto again.
I'll go to Phil's house and we'll do it from there.
Yeah, I will be at Phil's house for a few weeks, so I can do it from there. I should be in Ottawa, mid to late October. So, yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, and that'll be about a perfect time to check in. And like I said, amazing news today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Wake up tomorrow morning in business for yourself, and that's a pretty awesome feeling. As scary as it might be, you control your own destiny, and that's pretty awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I have some ideas brewing, and it's just I didn't have the time to execute. I'm excited that, especially once I'm back from my tour. I call it the Sylvain's card tour. Once I'm back from my tour, I'll have a lot more time to execute on some of the ideas that have been brewing. So I appreciate that, and I really appreciate you guys rooting for me. and having me on the show. It's a dream come true, really. I can't believe I made it here. I know 4 years sounds like a long time, but
You need
feels
to dream bigger.
yeah.
If this is a dream come true.
No. being a full-time
Okay.
hobby and being on the show is a dream come true.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just part,
Still,
it's
you
part of
need
the
to dream
package.
bigger. That's my Troy. Any parting shots or words of advice for Savannah?
Yeah, well, he said you're saying dream bigger, and I remember I had a book and I had to look it up. Dream big, little pig. That's all in my segment. Dream big, little pig. But no.
Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words.
Wink, wink.
I love this segment. Love hearing about all the stuff, the good, the bad, the ups, the downs. Hopefully I will see you in Montreal. I want to try to make that.
Yeah. I'd love that.
All right. Until next time, until chapter 5, good luck and happy safe travels. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you guys.
Okay, we're back. I'm going to bring Baba Louie on real quick because he was there last night too. It seems like a month ago. I think it was last night where we recorded it. Pretty exciting news from Sylvan, though. Obviously taking the plunge into doing this full time. I don't know what stood out to you, Troy, about his what he had to say last night.
I just think good for him for taking the plunge, deciding this is the right time. He kind of went through the process, what he was thinking about. You asked him like what things you have to have in place before you take that leap. And I think he was very honest answering that question. So it's definitely, I'm sure he's nervous. I mean, I think he said that, but knowing Sylvan, it seems like he's got everything in a row, and now it's time to go to work.
And stick with the mindset. He was discussing the mindset he's got to have for this now, and not loving every card he's got. He's got to get them, move them, to stay afloat and everything that goes along with it. I wish him luck. I think he'll be pretty dang good at it. But yeah, I give credit to these guys that can make a living doing this.
Well, now he's gonna be on the road for 2 months straight.
Right.
On the road again. I noticed. Did you guys feel like he had a little pep in his step? A little, his confidence seemed. Yeah, it was just good. I mean, you don't want to quit your job, and hopefully, I took it as he's kind of starting to figure it out, like what works for him, what works for his personality, his clientele, and I don't know. Maybe we'll catch him on a down month, and he'll be like, "Hello, hello."
I've made a huge mistake.
Why didn't you guys stop me?
I thought Matthew Nyes was going to be the greatest. I think he's figured it out. Kobe does too, because he's barking away. Do you guys hear that? Or is it
Kobe.
Okay.
Just part of the show now.
Yeah, this is part of the show. So another great interview. And again, it all comes down to honesty. We said that from the very beginning, that for this kind of series to work and for us to all be able to sort of live vicariously through Sylvan, that we have to feel like we're getting the scoop. And he's been very honest, like he'll with numbers and facts and figures and how he's feeling. So very, very much appreciate that. We're gonna move on and make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. Of course, we are very, very thankful for their support in making this show possible. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live, ends tonight. Remember, there's almost 2,000 cards available in this week's Slab Sharks auction. Bunch of monster cards, cool cards you can go or free to go and snag, add to your PC. And if you just happen to be a Canadian hockey cards collector and have been thinking about putting some of your cards up for sale, we'd strongly recommend checking out Slab Sharks eBay consignment services, as they make it super easy to sell your cards online because they basically do everything for you. All you got to do is drop them off at a card show they are set up at, or send them in via their online submission center at slabsharks.com. They'll do the rest. I saw like Jeremy Lee is now like taking Slab Shark submissions. The whole world is, right? Okay. I think maybe their plan is to make everybody an affiliate, so you just submit your own cards when you want to sell them.
There you go. I'm going to say one thing to it. If you are a Sidney Crosby fan or you're looking for Sidney Crosby autos, this auto or this auction has a ton.
Yes.
So have at it.
Have at it. Well, Slab Sharks, they're going to take amazing photos. They'll list your cards, answer any buyer questions, hunt down payment from winners, ship to either US or Canada, which is awful to do. So thank God they do that. And then handle any post-sale issues. Then, of course, your cards will also be included in their extremely popular weekly eBay auctions, so you have the opportunity for your cards to reach tons of collectors and potential bidders. So for complete consignment info, including payout rates, and to get this process started today, head to slapsharks.com. Happy news!
Happy news.
Well, the 37-year-old and still amazing hockey player Sidney Crosby signed a 2-year contract extension on Monday with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Right, that locks him up with the team through the 26-27 season and gives him what many assume a chance to retire with the only franchise he's ever played for. So I guess we won't get to do any blues legend Sidney Crosby jokes. Comedy killer, right? Crosby's extension is worth $17.4 million in total for an average value or annual value of, you guessed it, $8.7 million, which of course is a nod to his 87 number. I think for most of his career, all of his career, he's been paid $8.7 million a year.
Well,
He's got like that weird thing with the
really, I saw there's an Instagram reel where the guy's like acting like Sidney Crosby and talking to his agent, and the agent's like, Sidney, $8.7 million is not worth what it was worth, 15 years ago. I want $8.7 million. That's all I want. That's all I need.
Well, trying to give his team more of a chance to win, I guess. Leafs legend and current Penguins GM Kyle Dubas had this to say about Sid's extension. There are no words to properly describe what Sidney Crosby means to the game of hockey, the city of Pittsburgh, and the Penguins organization. Penguins general manager, that's it. Yeah, Sidney is the greatest player of his generation and one of the greatest players in the history of the game. His actions today show why he is one of hockey's greatest winners and leaders. Sid is making a tremendous personal sacrifice in effort to help the Penguins win, both now and in the future, as he has done for his entire career. So, Troy, currently Crosby is just 98 goals, 29 assists, and 127 points behind Mario Lemieux for the Penguins franchise lead in all of those categories. So he's got 3 more years, technically. He's still got 1 year left of his current deal, 2-year extension. Feels like unless he gets hurt real bad, that he'll probably surpass Mario for all those franchise, I guess, records.
Yeah.
Now, are you happy that it looks like Crosby is going to retire as a Penguin?
Oh, yeah, nervous for about sure. That? He should retire as a Penguin. I'm really curious if he retires after this deal's done. Listen,
maybe not.
He still scored 98 points last season. It's not like, and he's 39. Yeah. I mean, he could probably keep going. He can be like Celio if he wanted to, and probably still play at a high level. So I'm curious. I'm curious if he'll be done or if he'll keep rolling.
Sidney Crosby is a 2005-6 Young Guns PSA 10 Pop 1,191. Has a 51% gem rate, less over $2,625 in September 9th. It is down 1% in the past month, but still up 9% in the past 6 months. Well, he wasn't the only one that got a new fresh contract. Lucas Raymond got paid. The Detroit Red Wings young star also signed an 8-year extension that will pay him $8.75 million at an average annual value. He's 22 years old, from Sweden, was the 4th overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft by your Detroit Red Wings, Troy. Last season, which was Raymond's 3rd in the league, ended up with him posting career highs in goals, apples, and points. He finished with 31 goals and 72 points. Part of a young core in Detroit that includes Mo Sider and Simon Edvinsson. Now, Detroit hasn't made the playoffs in 8 seasons, but was close last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think a 22-year-old putting up 31 goals is pretty promising.
Oh yeah, these teams are all locking in these guys that show any hint of being young and having that they could be a successful goal scorer, point scorer, whatever. They're all getting signed to 8-year deals.
8 and 8, right? That's like 8 by 8.
Yeah.
That's the new hockey deal. Now, Daily Faceoff has Raymond projected as a first-line forward this upcoming season, playing with Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat. They'll also have him on the first power play unit, so he should get plenty of chances to produce some points. And Lucas Raymond is a 2021-22 Young Guns PSA 10 Pop 3,468, 71% gem rate.
Yeah.
I sold for $52 in September 15th.
This is a car. It's a commodity. Yeah. Unless he wins 5 Hart trophies, I don't know where it can go, but I mean, it can go up, obviously. But
It's down 22% in the past 2 weeks and down 44% over the past year. So
Yeah.
there's better Raymond cards if you're into
Yes.
it, I would say. Next story, Troy, is kind of a crazy one. Fanatics sponsors our show, so we always got to make that disclaimer. One of their company's tops announced on Tuesday they have a new basketball product coming out featuring the generational talent Victor Wembanyama called Topps Mercury. So this product releases in about 3 weeks or so, October 9th. You'll get 8 cards in a box, Troy. There will be game-worn relics, autos, and the cards, all from Wemby's rookie season. Now, the 8-card boxes will cost $8,000. So,
Yeah. Okay.
that's crazy. And, you know, it's unlicensed. I mean, I think like that's the big headline.
Yeah.
It just, I think some of this stuff as hockey card collectors is very hard for us to wrap our heads around. And for me, just
Yeah.
knowing our hobby so well, you think of like, how would this hobby or part of the hobby respond if like an $8,000 box of
Leaf
unlicensed
Leaf
Bedard-
decided. Yeah.
Leaf Bedard, yeah, Leaf puts on 8,000. Would I'm
They
sure
can't,
people
right?
buy it.
Yeah, they can't because Bedard's locked up by Upper Deck. But just we bring this story up just because we want to like think about this. Like, would this just cause the hockey hobby to implode? I don't think this would work in hockey. Like,
And I have zero doubt this will be extremely successful for Topps either. Now you can see too, where there's a couple of card designs, like they did their best to minimize the fact that there isn't licensing for the
this
card.
guy has 4 fingers. Is that? I always thought this
Jordan.
was the Air Jordan logo. I don't know if it is, but
Oh yeah,
he's
that
got
does look
4
weird.
fingers on the patch.
Does Michael Jordan have 4 fingers only? I almost now want to see somebody in hockey try something like this.
Try
just
it,
to see what happens.
Yeah.
I just want to be there to watch. I don't want to buy it, good or bad. I just want to be there to watch. What do you think the most, like a Bedard, whether it be Leaf, Fanatics, President's Choice, whoever, made an unlicensed Bedard box where they could have autos, and I know they can't because Upper Deck has an exclusive there, but let's just for hypothetical argument say they could. What do you think the most that they could get away with charging?
Probably the cup price, 1,000, 1,100.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say $2,000, but
yeah, I don't know if anyone would buy it. Like, we see hockey collectors all the time. The unlicensed cards are not a favorite of hockey collectors. We've seen it. It's there's some that do well, but a lot of them don't. Like Gretzky autos are always cheaper if they're on an unlicensed, or where he's like a good one champion where he doesn't have the NHL stuff on.
I agree. And it's hard because I have such a strong bias against unlicensed cards, so it's hard for me to be objective. But yeah, best. Well, they don't need luck. I know this will sell crazy amount, and where I do give them credit too is I've looked through all the cards. The designs are pretty awesome. Like they did a very nice.
They do a good job hiding. Like we showed 2, but there's I don't know. I think we saw a picture of 8, and there's I think 1 or 2 where it's like okay, you got a black jersey on, but the rest they've kind of hit it with angles, and Leaf does a good job of that too on some cards. They try to do that too, hiding stuff.
Well, to wrap up hobby news, we're going to do a little blast from the past, right? We've got actually 2 requests. I don't know what's in the water this week for local card show shoutouts.
Nice.
We end greatest player, and then local card show shoutouts come back. So how this happens is people just ask us. They're like, hey, here's a local show that's upcoming that I care about. Will you shout it out? And we try to do it whenever we can. The first one is the CSC show. A shout out to longtime show follower Nonstop Dave, who asked us to promote this one for them. We really have appreciated Dave's support over the years now, which is crazy to say. Well, this Sunday, September 22nd in Mississauga, Ontario, the CSC trade show is happening. It's a one-day show from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Mississauga Convention Center. I did not know there's a Mississauga. I know the International Center.
I'm sitting there staring at it, trying to figure out if that's the same place, but then I'm like, no, I don't think so. It's different.
It's at 75 Derry Road West. Wendell Clark Troy will be there signing some autos.
Good.
$20 admission. Kids 12 and under are free. And then there's a pretty big show in the States this weekend, the Philly show. It's September 20th through 22nd at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks. That's at 100 Station Avenue in Oaks, PA. Tickets for adults are $15 at the door on Friday and Sunday and $20 on Saturday. Kids 10 and under get in free. Show hours are Friday 1 to 8 p.m., Saturday 9 to 5 p.m., and Sunday 9 to 3 p.m. Yeah, there we go.
Cool.
Kind of miss doing those. I liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, today for us, yesterday for you, listening and watching, 2022-23, the Cup was released. A Cup release day is always significant in our hobby, as of course it's the biggest, most prestigious set of the year.
Yep.
We had the great fortune and opportunity to chat with Upper Deck's Billy Celio just a few hours ago. We've had on the show many times now. Billy is, of course, the product manager for Upper Deck, and the Cup is one of his sets. Troy wasn't there again. Oh, Billy mentioned it. Yeah, the work, the job thing.
I was waiting. I watched the interview. I watched
you did.
I'm sorry, Billy. One of these days.
One of these days.
Do your interviews at night so I can.
Yeah. I made like a huge like dumb mistake, which I'm still stuck in my craw.
Mhm.
But you'll all see. We didn't edit it out. I was adult and forgot limited logos has game used patches in it. So yeah, take my hockey card journalist card away. Don't deserve it anymore. Well, we hope you enjoy our conversation with Billy, and we'll be back soon. We are pleased to welcome back Billy Celio from Upper Deck to talk about 2022-23 The Cup, which is out today on Wednesday. Hey, Billy, how's it going, man?
Doing good.
Well, I don't know if I've asked this before, but is there like a little bit more energy around the Upper Deck offices on Cup release day?
You know what? You'd think there would be, and obviously a bunch of us have been watching breaks and checking it out. But like when other products come out, sometimes like in either entertainment or gaming or stuff, they have like donuts to celebrate a product coming out. And I didn't get donuts today, so I might be a little cranky. I didn't get my sugar this morning because I was expecting donuts. But no, there's definitely people are excited. They're wanting to see the hits. I've obviously gotten to see a number of the hits because I was one of the people that went out to hand pack the product. But a lot of other people have had to live vicariously through the hundreds of photos I took on my phone,
Yeah.
and but now that they're seeing people break it and seeing how it's breaking, yeah, there's a lot of excitement around here for sure.
Do you remember when you were done with this set?
It's been a while. It's been a while. I will say this. It's been 9 months since the last one, which means we're,
Yeah.
catching up a little bit. I was told that it's going to be hopefully even less time for the next one. So we're getting there. Yes, I know it's frustrating that it's out like every single post that we've posted. There's always someone really quick to be like, I thought it was the 2024 right now, why is this coming out? And it's just like the same jokes over and over again. Might as well
Hmm.
put a fun meter on there low and post that every single time and think you're funny. But the yeah, it's taken a while, but the one thing I could say about it is the rookie class has had time to establish himself a little bit. Like a lot of times when you're getting those products and
Hmm.
there's a lot of like you're you're buying on expectations, and now you've actually seen what some of these guys can do. And it hurts some players and it definitely
Yep.
helps other players. So even though it's coming out later, I still think there's a lot of great potential in a lot of these rookie cards because you've seen what they can do.
But even in like a perfect scenario, let's say you guys are all caught up because of lead times, you have to work pretty far in advance, anyways, right?
Oh yeah. It's man, I when I started, I remember it was like I think it was like a 13 month ahead, like 13 months ahead of time. For like a hard signed product, it was 13 months. And then it went to 14 months.
Hmm.
And then it went to 16 months. I think we're close to 16 months right now for the lead time, just because, you know, um, some of these guys don't sign during the season. So
Yeah,
like if the product's ready, like at the beginning of the season, you have to wait all the way to the end just to get them to sign, because they refuse to do it. They're focused on the season. So, having to wait for autographs and collecting it, and again, still finding time at vendors to be able to print cards. We're giving ourselves a little more leeway to try to catch up and get the set out as close to release time. Now, keep in mind, the cup never really came out like during the season. It was
sure.
always an end of year. Like I think the goal was usually like I remember when I first started. I think the goal was like late July, early August, and I think the
Hmm.
earliest we ever hit was November since I've been here the next year. So
Okay.
like I think maybe it's been out for the expo once that I can remember, but for the most part, it was usually around like November, December. So yeah, we still have a lot of catching up to do, but it's not like it's going to come out at the like people are like, why can't this come out during the season? It's just like there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I understand that. It's probably a big challenge, but then there are some ramifications that come with it taking a while. Is you get like a Carter Hart situation where you can kind of get stuck in cases like that where you don't have time to maybe adapt and react to the marketplace. But like you said, there's like probably a million moving pieces and a lot of I'm assuming the timeline is out of your control given that there's tons of autos in the cup and you're waiting on athletes to sign.
Yeah, it starts with me, and I'm the one building it, 16 months ahead of time.
Mhm.
After that, there's a lot of other people that are involved. It kind of has to, we have to start coming up with the designs. The coordinators have to start coming up with the checklists. And then and it takes a while for the designs. And then photo has to, like, it takes time to, color correct photos for once the designs are made, then we need photos, then we need, like, there's each like it I get a certain amount of time to build a set, and then each
Mm,
other component of it gets time to work on the designs, and the designs could take anywhere from start to finish. Those designs could take any like 4 to 6 months to
mhm.
get nailed down. There's a lot of little things that you have to pay attention to when you're designing these cards, and then you add the photos. You got the checklists. Um, and all the legal stuff, like everything has to be approved by the league, and like the league doesn't always like just like stop everything for an email from upper deck and say just a second, just a second, I gotta approve this this you know what was I going to say, chemical composition
Oh,
insert. They must have missed that email
it's
or
one of your
something, I
greatest
don't know.
hits.
Uh-huh, yeah. um but and then you have to, the cards take time to make, and laminated cards take more time than regular cards to make.
Mm,
And then you have to, organize them and sort them and then get them to the athletes, and the athletes get a certain amount of time to sign them, and then you have to hit a certain number of autographs to even be able to pack out the product. We don't want to, have 50% redemptions or anything like that. It's unfortunate that we do have redemptions. I think it's very minimal in this year. I think there's only two subjects that do have redemptions. But other than that, it's pretty redemption free. And yes, we do have past product stuff that helps us hit those numbers. But like I had
yep.
mentioned, some guys just don't sign until certain times of the year. Um, so if you look at the checklist, like there's a lot of Sidney Crosby autographs in there, but they're all from 21 or 21, 22, because it takes time for him to sign. So do you not want to have Sidney Crosby autographs in the product, or are you fine with having 21, 22 cards in the set?
Is that
And I'm
because he signs so slow? Like it takes him
you
a
know what's
very slow
You know what's
pen?
funny is, he does it, and he consistently does it, like, but it takes time. Like he has a certain time that he signs every year, except
Mm,
years he's injured. When he's injured, that dude gets his stuff back so fast. So I'm not saying to wish any injuries upon anyone. I'm just saying, like, I think he's one of those guys that just focuses on the season, and when he's not, then he's great about signing. If he's got the
yeah.
time, he does it. But yeah, that's one of those guys that, sometimes you get the stuff from the year before.
When you sit down, like the first day, it's you to work on 2022, 23, the cup or any other cup release, I would assume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you go through your head, it's like, well, what's my goal or theme, or what am I trying to achieve with this particular set? Do you recall maybe what some of those thoughts were when you started working on this product?
Um, it yeah, there's usually something going through my head. Like different years, I have different things when it comes to like the inserts, and then there's other things. There's like a The way I even describe it in my brief is like this insert is part of a family.
Hmm.
This insert, like the limited logos, the honorable numbers, the signature patches, stuff like that. They're part of a family that's been part of the cup for quite some time, and I want them to be like distant relatives of the base set and the rookie auto patch. Like if we're going like silvery, shiny, then I want everything to kind of be silvery, like the O five
Sure.
or the 06, 07, or O 05, O 06, like sort of feel. There's other years I'll be like, I just want clean. I want like white. I want a lot of white. I want white and clean. Don't want a
Hmm.
lot of distractions. And then sometimes I go through my Sergeant Pepper stage where you get
Yeah.
a few things later like different, but how many times do I sit there and hear, oh, this looks the same as last year, this looks the same as last year, and sometimes you gotta kind of experiment, or sometimes you gotta just think of some other things of how you want the set to look. You don't want every year to look exactly the same. So we try to accomplish that. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not as appealing for some people, but for the most part, I think this was a pretty clean looking set, to be honest. I like how a lot of it looks. I think we went through the white stage on this one.
Okay, so this is, I was gonna say like sepia, or because that sort of stood out to me, and maybe it's
So
kind. I know there's that insert, but
some of the inserts, I looked a lot on photography and artwork for inserts on this
mm,
year's set. Um, when I collect autographs and stuff, I love black and white photos, and I like the sepia tone images
mhm,
sometimes to get signed. And when you get them signed in a blue Sharpie, it looks really cool. And I was just like, I want to do this for a card. And so we did it. And honestly, I have a couple other favorites, or maybe one or two other favorites of new content, but that one is definitely up there. I love how the cards look. It just the blue pops on the sepia tone. And I think those cards look great.
mhm. We got to talk about the seventh out of 99 True RPA this year in the cup, and then also the Lucky Seven box that you guys announced, I think about a week ago now. When did that idea come to
Yep.
you, and when did you guys start talking about pulling that off?
So what's funny, and major props to our marketing department and our brand department that got stuff approved, and we were able to hurry and get everything done. So when we're in the pack out process, um, we don't print the exact, like we don't have the exact number of cards that we need to finish this specific number of tins. We do incur some waste. We call it waste, but
Yeah.
it's just like extra cards that,
Yeah.
sometimes our customer service will use for damages and stuff like that. And so, so this is kind of to all those people that think, oh, they wasted 7 case hits to make this box. um, I actually asked, my boss, like, "Hey, how many extra case hits do we have?" And he's just like, "Well, there's this many." I'm like, "Well," I go, "This might be a really cool opportunity to do something." Like, I'm seeing all the hype that other people are doing and getting for ideas, and I'm just like, I want to do something that gets that hype out there, that gets people excited, and that gives a customer an unbelievable experience of opening the cup. And so it's just kind of like, well, we've kind of mumbled before, like, oh, it'd be so cool to put one of every 99
Mhm.
in a tin. And there's 7 this year, which will be the answer to your next question. So there's 7, and I'm just like, well, when you have like a monumental booklet, you can fit a monumental with 5 other cards, and it's about the width of 7 cards. I was like, well, we can fit 7 cards in a tin, and So I'm just like, let's see if we can do this. I call my boss. We talk to our brand department. They approve it all the way up to the top. And then, oh, was that my boss just walking right past me? There he is. Grant's
Oh,
saying hi. Yeah, we're talking Cup with the Gong Show. He's gonna listen to it later. I'm not kicking you out. I'm just saying he's an active listener of the show. But
well,
anyway,
tell him thank you.
so then it was like then it was like then it was like, okay, what are we gonna do with this? And so we were just like, well, let's take pictures of this. Like, I didn't want to just be like whatever. So they have a area where they take pictures for like UDA items and stuff. So me and our brand manager, we went over there and just started taking pictures and video, and we sent it to our marketing department. I mean, we must have taken about 8 to 10 videos from different angles, from different
Hmm.
viewpoints, took pictures, and those are my hands in the video. I jokingly say to everyone, you probably can tell because you can see the Adidas jacket, and I'm usually wearing Adidas. I say that now, and I'm just wearing a sweatshirt, but if I do have Adidas pants on, so I guess I'm still representing. So
Are you like a George
yeah, that's
Costanza hand model? Is that what you're?
No, yes. No, you know what's funny is I took a screen grab of David Duchovny from Zoolander with the big
Mm,
glass around his
yeah.
hand. So same concept, but different actor. So yeah, and our marketing department, like we didn't have a lot of time to do it, and I was just like, I need this done by Thursday. I specifically want to do this the day after Gong Show tapes, so they won't have the opportunity to get excited about it or say anything about it. So they were very good about the timing. No, I did, but I asked, I'm like, I want this before Friday. I don't want it to be lost on a weekend. So they rushed, got a video done, and looked really good. I was very
Hmm.
happy. As for the 7 99s this year, so I mentioned how early in the process we start. Um, we actually do two rookie forms. There's an early rookie form and a later rookie form. Reason being is in 16, 17, we almost did not have Austin Matthews live in the product. Now, Austin Matthews signed a bunch of cards that year. He signed his, SP Authentic cards and Ultimate and stuff. But, we kind of build stuff throughout the year.
Sure.
And, he got his cards back the Tuesday. Like, we started everything Monday and we got the cards in on Tuesday. Luckily,
Oh,
like, the case hits are later in the process. So we had to hand spike all of Austin Matthews hard signed cards into the product because we had just got them in, and we're like, we can't. And we'd already delayed it, I believe, a week to try to get his cards in because they told us they're coming, they're coming. So we decided that we're not going to mess with that anymore. So we do an early form, and a lot of times, like we'll put you kind of have an idea of who the
sure. The
the
big
the
names
rookies are
are.
going to be, the big names, and they might not always be like the best playing rookie names at the time, but they still have a lot of, like, a number one pick is still going to be a big deal, like, and it's usually going to be a 99. So we're able to do, and then I always leave like a space on the second form just in case. So we did that, and we did not have Wyatt Johnson as a 99. And the same thing happened to Jason Robertson a couple years ago or last year, whatever. And I'm just like, we can't do that again. And we all, like, it's just a disserve. Like, Jason Robertson should be a 99. And
Yeah.
so yes, it's great. It would give us more big hits if Wyatt Johnson was 249, and we'd be like, oh, great, you just strengthened the box. But you know, to be honest, like, he deserves to be a 99. We wanted to make him a 99, so we made him a 99 um, on that form, and so that's why there's seven. Is we added, he was on the late form, and we were able to add him in there, and so I think for the first time, I can't remember. Do you remember Eichel was it six and then Eichel as a patch only? Or
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I thought. So
Patch
there's
only.
been seven, but not seven auto patches. It's been six auto patches and then an Eichel patch.
Do you know how like EA Sports and the NFL, they do like a big presentation with athletes when they get like the 99 rating? Have
Yeah.
you guys ever done something like that with hockey players when they get a cup 99?
No,
You
not a
should.
not a bad idea. Um, but
Does that mean I'm on the payroll?
we haven't done that.
The idea man here?
Don't you already work for us at the rookie photo shoot?
No, I'm an independent hockey card journalist, Billy. I can't
Stop it.
be.
You have sponsors. I
Yeah.
call you guys the Hockey Sticker Gong Show now because
Oh.
doesn't your sponsor make stickers? They don't make cards.
Speaking of them, are you aware? And I want to get back to this whole cup release or the Lucky Sevens box
Yeah,
information that we can talk about. Do you know that that company that they let like content creators and influencers break news? Were you aware of that?
they let what now?
They let like people like us break news. Like they
Oh,
actually don't break the news themselves. They just thought that was
oh,
interesting.
we
You might want to.
I guess our egos are too big. We want to do it ourselves. Like we pay our marketing team instead of paying influencers sometimes.
Oh, that hurts. Okay, moving on.
Big heart, big heart. I
Yeah.
still love it.
Now, this whole Lucky Sevens box, is this like the first time you guys have done anything like this?
Well, there's no. I think we did one time we did something cool where we spelled out the cup, and I was so mad at the guy. I'm like, don't waste seven notable nameplates on something. And
Oh,
then they did it, and it was awesome. Like, actually got broken live, and I was like, oh man, I was wrong on that one. That was actually a really cool idea that one of our guys that helped out in North Carolina did, and it was really cool. So we've done little things like that, but we've never like we I think in O-Pee-Chee back in the day there were like hot boxes with the black parallels and stuff like that. But we
mhm,
we we don't do the hot boxes as often, and it's because of the reason why people are complaining. Like, well, those could have been more hits in separate boxes. As I said, I made sure that we had extra hits, so the people that are going to be hurting are actually our customer service because they're not going to have as many replacements.
gotcha. Well, I would. Well, first of all, if you do anything, you're gonna have some complainers. I mean, that's you can give someone $1 million to complain about paying taxes. I would.
100%.
I From what I've seen though, I would say that the response has been more positive than negative. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. There was a lot of excited people. There was a lot of excited, and do appreciate all the influencers that did grab onto our ad and stuff like that, and did talk about it. Very again, very appreciative. We just like to announce the stuff ourselves. I guess it's just an internal thing. But again, thank you for pointing that out, and everybody else for pointing that out about the Lucky 710. But yeah, for the most part, it's been pretty positive. The only negatives I heard is people complaining about the guy who put the cards in the tin. That
Oh yeah, we don't like him.
he had like weird hands and stuff. I don't know.
Mhm. So you can you see
Don't
yourself
like it.
doing creative stuff like this again?
We're trying. You know what? We're always thinking of things that we can do, and some of them it's a matter of how fast we can get things done.
Mhm.
And I we're begging for this sort of thing. We're begging for it, and we're really, excited to when we do come up with these ideas for it to happen. So yeah, I can see it happening a lot more, and to the point where maybe we're very traditional in how we build stuff, but I think it's something that we can look into the future and plan these things ahead of time, and not like the day of.
Well, what I liked about this move is, and I'm not knocking the necessarily too much the 2022-23 class because, like you said, some guys have come around. Wyatt Johnston has a great had a great finish to last season, but there is no with the whole Bedard thing in 23-24. It is kind of you have to overcome that with the 2022 sets, and so I think this type of chase or talking point or something to get excited about, I think helped that kind of balance that out a little bit, if that makes sense to you.
Oh, totally agree. Totally agree. I would love to do more things like this, and us as a group are thinking of ideas and trying to help each other out to come up with some of those ideas. I know people like we already have a few Easter eggs ready for 23 24 the cup. And people will just be like, oh well, all you gotta do is put Bedard in the set and it's gonna sell. And yeah, that's probably the case. And but we don't want people just to feel, oh, Bedard or bust. We want to
Mhm.
do some other stuff for them. So we're looking into some more things.
Now we're like 20 some minutes into our conversation. I sort of feel like we've buried the lead here. The one of the first things that stood out to me when I watched a number of breaks this morning is the new foam. Very exciting.
I didn't even I didn't even notice. That's so well, I guess I did notice. I had the one from I don't do the putting the cards into the bins. I basically put the cards together and we put them in
Yeah.
boxes and then sort it and then give the boxes to people and then they're the ones that put the cards into the foam. They're all at the same place during the same process. It's just there's different units that do different things. Um,
You're not on the foam team, is what you're
I'm
saying?
not I'm not on the foam team. Why is
You
it
know what I'm
better?
talking about though? Like the foam was those cards were like wedged really in there, and you almost had to like cut it or break it apart to get them out. I know you could push it through, but people felt that that was dangerous, and they like slide right out of those suckers. And there's
Oh,
new like dimples
good.
around it's new foam, Billy. I
I,
don't
I well, I haven't even gotten my QA case
breaking
yet.
news to you apparently
Yeah,
about the new foam.
I haven't gotten my
Okay.
QA case yet. You guys got it before I did.
Well, congrats on the new foam that apparently you know nothing about. So there you
Thanks.
go. There you go. Okay, I want to talk about some specific cards, and we have some examples that we can show too in a second. The limited logos thing, maybe my favorite set from the cup. Last year, we had the first time patch only, no auto, and
Yep.
then we see that a little bit again this year. So,
Yep.
are we still testing this out, or is this permanent, or what are we thinking about that?
So look, we're gonna do it for a couple years. Again, the reason we did it is because there are guys out there that have not had limited logos, and yes, there's gonna be the people that find, oh, this guy had one here, and you made a non-auto version of it. Maybe we don't have a deal with it now. Maybe, um, you know, uh, we just wanted to we didn't want to put them in the auto version this time because there's only a certain number of spots that you can put into the checklist, but they still wanted to give them one. So it's about a 2 or 3 year. I don't want to call it experiment. I just want to say a 2 or 3 year chance for some of these guys that haven't had limited logos to have limited logo cards.
Mhm.
I believe in the far future, it's been removed. But I think we still got like maybe 1 to 2 more years of it. This being one of them. So possibly next year. I can say I know I've taken it out of even farther ahead, but it was one of those things where it's just like give them the opportunity to have a limited logo card. It's not called autograph limited logos. It's called limited logos. Just like honorable numbers, if that's going to be your next question, honorable numbers doesn't say honorable jersey number. Yes, it's always been numbered to the jersey. I understand that. We changed it to some stats because people got tired of seeing the exact same number for the card
Mm.
every single time. So we wanted to add maybe some stats to it. And every single notable, like the honorable number cards, is actually, there is something that says what that number is. It's not just like, oh, here's the number 17, try to figure out what that is. But that's not his jersey number. We specify exactly what the number on the card represents. It's an honorable number. The stat that is on there has some sort of meaning to it. So that's kind of
I
why
think I
we
get what you're saying there. So, what you're saying is to continue to have like Gretzky honorable numbers into the future, having them be 90. I mean, well, maybe he's a bad example
he's
because,
usually no, he's usually 9, like 09, like or 99,
yeah,
but we usually make 9 copies of it. Like some of
or
those
like,
like
yeah,
legends and stuff. Even
like
like
Kale
McDavid.
McCarr would be a good example, right?
Yeah.
Where you can't have it would feel repetitive, and so it sounds like you're trying to experiment around that a little bit. Speaking of limited logos, though, so the only like legend in limited logos this year is our boy Patty Waugh here,
I
and beautiful card by the way.
I got all over our marketing department. I'm like, you have to show this card. When I saw it, I have two pictures, or I have 3 pictures of this card, but different versions of it,
Yeah,
because it's just like, oh, this is awesome. I go, it's Patty in a Montreal jersey. Like those aren't easy to come by, and
no,
so it's like, okay. And then I saw this one specifically, and I'm like, this is the one that goes in our marketing for our marketing team. But absolutely gorgeous card. One of my like I have a few favorite individual cards. This is definitely one of the top 10 cards that I saw. This specific one with those breaks and where that logo comes from and everything.
Yeah, the card itself, I think you guys did a really nice job designing it too. I love all the foiling on it. I think that adds a beautiful element to it. I love the fact that the patch matches the jersey. Sometimes that gets a little weird, and with Wah, you see a lot of that where he'll be either in a Colorado jersey, usually in a a Canadians jersey with Colorado patch, because I'm assuming they're just easier to get. I think you guys hit a home run on this one. Why is he the only legend though in limited logos?
Um, those are expensive. Like a legend jersey. The prices of jerseys are going up more and more and more for retired jerseys, and so to be able to do those on a regular basis is tough. Where you might see one, two, three legends in there, but so a good way to explain this also is like mega patches. You don't see legends in there. You spend a lot of money on a jersey for a legend. You want to get maximum use out of it. And I mean, there's times like this where you're building. I'm sitting here pointing at the screen. There's my big hand,
Yeah.
but that card is going to be a huge hit.
Oh yeah.
Um, if you were to do a Tony Amante, um, you know, limited logos or mega patch, those cards might not go for as much as they should, and you can get a lot more usage and a lot more value out of a patch, cutting smaller pieces and more pieces. We saw there was a what are the prime patches one time. This is a prime patch of Stan Mikita, and they
Yeah.
did the whole logo thing, and we're seeing the prices of what they were selling for, and it like sell for less than $100 for a Stan Mikita jersey. This is like 8 years, like whenever 8
Mhm.
years ago, we like just me and Grant were observing it. It's just like that's crazy to only get that value out of a game used Stan Mikita jersey. So that's one of the reasons why you don't see as many legends with large patches like that. Um, we do want to put them in there, and like obviously you notice it's numbered to 10 and it's not numbered to 50.
Yeah.
There will be players in there every now and then. I believe we did a Gretzky last year.
Yeah.
But
I think the
that's
number to 10 is fine. And so to me, I'm going to agree and disagree with you. I understand everything you're saying, and that does make sense to me. But I think that there are a handful at least, of cards in this hobby that have the potential to be iconic. And I have no problem with a Legends limited logos being out of 10, right? Because I think down the road that helps it with value too. And I would just love to see more. Do we need to start a GoFundMe to get Upper Deck some jerseys, or what needs to happen here?
no, if you could just find us some jerseys and just give them to us, that would be much more appreciative than having to actually
Doesn't
buy
that
them.
Dr. Brian Price guy have them all? Isn't that the
Right? No, actually, I don't know what he did with like I don't know the whole thing. Like I know Leaf got a bunch of the stuff, but then he still has like cards coming out, so they didn't get
Mhm.
it all. That's all I know. But it's we do our best to find vintage stuff, um, but it's harder and harder to come by,
Mhm.
and it's getting more and more expensive. So we want to maximize the use of our legendary jerseys. Like the cup isn't the only place you're going to see stuff like that. You see it in artifacts, sometimes you see it in SP game use, ultimate, premier, stuff like that. So to be able to
Sure.
maximize it, to be able to go in a bunch of different like if we were to buy a Gretzky jersey and like just roll this out, it's that's make sure it values out, like I said. And I think the wall will value out.
I agree in this case it will. Another comment that I probably know the answer to, but I just feel compelled to bring up, and I think limited logos is a great example. So we're going to feature a card later on in the show in the weekly auction that rhymes with Germanics, and it's a 2005 the Cup Ovechkin limited logos where The material, of course, in that year was game used. I think, Billy, if we had one card in the cup that had game used material, was a RPA with game used material for the rookies, that the hobby would go literally bananas over that card. Is that impossible to make happen, or why can't we do that?
We do. You're looking at the set that has game used rookie material. Limited logos is game used
Oh,
rookie material.
it is game use, so okay.
Yes, and then of course, everyone, it was the huge deal that it was mislabeled on the back on the Cole Caulfield last year, and everybody thought it was because it said photo shoot. They mislabeled it, and then they're like, "Oh no, it was a mislabel." And you can have your devil's advocates and your whatever say, "Well, no, it says this." It was game use. It was a
That's
misprint.
right.
But no, limited logos, and that's what makes limited logos so special. One of the reasons why
Yeah,
limited logos are so special is
I know that.
it is all game used.
Remember when I told you a few minutes ago about hockey card journalism school being like a step above like a high school after program and about 30 steps below community college? Well, you're finding that out, and now I feel dumb because I did know that. And I don't know why I've had this in my head for the past few days, but okay, I
I
stand
think what
corrected.
you were gonna ask is, were all the limited logos correctly marked this year as opposed
I
to last
was.
year?
I was.
And the answer is yes.
Is this like when like a celebrity makes like a horrible mistake? I have to like go into rehab now or something like that
Right?
to
Yeah. No,
cover up for it, or
you
are
should be
we gonna
good.
see that announcement tomorrow? No, well, good. Now I'm happy, and yeah, apparently I'm an idiot. So what else
You're
is
not
new?
singing the national anthem here. It's okay.
Mm. Okay, so oh yeah, I wanted to talk to you about kind of moving along a little bit. The notable nameplate cards. I watched a number of breaks this morning, and it was apparent right away that these are not numbered. Were those supposed to be numbered?
So originally, yes, they're supposed to be numbered. They're supposed to be hand numbered to the number of letters in the player's last name. Recently, we have been, which is hand numbering stuff is time consuming. You have to have someone that's good at hand numbering. Also, it can't just be. If you saw my hand numbering, you'd be like, I devalued the card if I were to number the cards
Mhm.
just by how I number it. We've been stepping away from hand numbering recently, and I think it just got caught in the middle of
Okay.
whether we are hand numbering stuff anymore and not hand numbering stuff, and dealing with the one thing about those cards. They're like, well, why didn't you just foil number it? And then there's all these tolerance rules too, where you can't like foil number cards if in specific areas far away from where a piece of memorabilia is. So I think it was just one of those. It fell in the realm of, we're no longer trying to hand number as much stuff, and then the cards coming out and it not getting hand numbered. I can state for a fact that there are as many cards of the player's last name were made for the card. They're not using multiple jerseys. It's one jersey. It's one nameplate. So I was gonna say it's one letter per last name, but some people have like two of L's in their name. So yes, there's two
Yeah.
L's, but you know what I mean.
Yep. Nope. Totally understand that. And so people just have to refer to the checklist and ultimately kind of see what the rarity or
Yeah,
serial numbering was
if they
supposed
can
to be on.
spell if they can see the player's last name and then add up all the
Mhm.
letters in it, that's another way.
Gotcha. On the hand numbering thing, really quick. So some people have asked this too, and never. I kind of assumed it wasn't the athletes that numbered those, but is
No,
that? Yeah. So
no.
it's somebody and the
We had,
production
we
team.
had a we had a guy when I first started working here, and he was here with us for about 5 or 6 years. He had the best hand numbering. And
Mhm.
surprisingly, a guy, like a lot of times you'll sit there and say, guys, handwritings is horrible. But this guy was beautiful hand numbering. Did it for like 5 years while I was here. Unfortunately, is not with us anymore. So because he's not here, that's the only reason we're not hand numbering. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
But shout out to Mike Glassman.
Well, that's a lot of pressure too. I think I'd be nervous, like, of making a mistake
Oh, I
because
would mentally be like the numbering, like, okay, 16, and like, like you said, I'd be afraid to put the wrong number on there.
you have to focus a lot when
Yep.
doing that. I would assume. Okay, I want to move on to some other designs, and we're going to go through other ones real quickly too, and maybe just get to some comments on them. This one stood out, of course, because it's from the NHL collection. It's a Gordie Howe material auto. The auto's a sticker, of course, because Gordie's passed away. So I think people understand that. It's out of 10. And is this a piece of his glove? Is that what that is?
I believe so.
It's amazing.
This is honestly like my favorite card of the set. I ran into about 3 or 4 of these when I was doing the pack out, and I wanted to get the best one with the stitching and stuff. But not just because I'm a Red Wings fan, but this card is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I like the NHL collection cards. I like the two different color foils, which doesn't happen very often when you with building
Hmm.
cards. Like, you don't see cards with two colors of foil, and the designer just makes it look so elegant. And then just having that vintage piece of memorabilia, and still having the Gordie Howe autographs on there. This is easily like one of my top 3 cards of the set, if not my favorite.
You found a picture of Gordie where he's young, too. That's it's like rarer than the card.
Yeah, and without any like weird headgear that I think we did in last year's like showpiece. I was like, what is
Yeah.
that?
Okay. We're going to move on. Okay, I'm just kind of going in order as you guys put them in your gallery, so
No
you can
worries.
blame your marketing team if you don't like it. So we're looking at a dual ticket booklet. It's Peter Forsberg and Nicholas Lidstrom. Is that a real ticket there in the middle?
Yeah, that's a piece of a ticket stub from a game that they played against each other. So,
Nice.
yeah, it was just kind of like we've done the inscriptions, which were cool, the ticket booklets that had inscriptions of their stats and stuff. I kind of wanted to do a different, like, I don't want to say a step up, because I think those were really cool and very original. But I liked the fact, like, oh, well, let's have the two players played against each other. There's another one. I think it's a Hasek Wa that is an All-Star game. So it's an All-Star picture. All-star pictures of them with the All-Star
Nice.
ticket on there. So yeah, that's probably one of the fun things that the coordinators get to do, is when they get to buy stuff. And so they got to go online and find a bunch of old ticket stubs of games with players that we have deals with, that we could make these cards. I think they came out great.
It does look cool, and I'm guessing this will be a like a legend set going forward because I don't even know if they have tickets anymore. Do they?
Yeah, it's getting tougher and tougher to find tickets. I think just like in SP Game Use, we stopped doing the lineups, because they don't make lineup cards anymore. It's
Hmm.
all electronic, so it's unfortunate. There are some places that do still have tickets that will occasionally put into some products, but yeah, in the future I've kind of cut back, because it's getting more and more challenging. I remember when I first started with tickets, I was buying like lots of 100 tickets at a time, because there's so
Yep.
many of them, and season ticket holders have it. Um, but unfortunately, yeah, it's like a newspaper. It's a dying trend there.
Okay, next one. So this is just a Gretzky patch auto,
Yeah, we can just
and
keep 'em
gold
going. Yeah,
parallel.
just pass
Looks
pass
nice.
that. Nobody needs to. Yeah, no one needs to see that. No one enjoys Wayne Gretzky gamers at all. Not
No,
not not at all.
boring. Well, if he was in a Blues jersey,
Oh,
be a different
true.
story.
Very very true.
These, when you guys, I think this is one of the first images you released. We're talking about the Steve Yzerman monumental patch card that
Mhm.
has basically the C. Because I never knew this, but apparently he was the captain of the Red Wings, and most
Um,
people probably believe that since
for
my
a
limited
year
logos comment. Yeah.
for a year or two, I think he was captain. I
Mm,
think,
interesting.
yeah,
That's a great card. I wonder if this has been pulled yet. Have you seen if it's been pulled?
I haven't. I wish I could throw some money down and get it, but yeah,
Hmm.
that's gonna be pricey.
Okay, Materialistics is one of the new cards. Is that
Yes.
correct? And so it has a piece of patch and then a piece of stick.
Yep.
Are there auto
Yes.
cop as well? Okay. And so
There's
what we're looking at is a Jack Hughes out of 25 without an auto, but I really like this. And I think this is to use more, even going back to the Gordie Howe card with the piece of his glove. Patches are awesome, but there's other pieces of equipment that are cool too. And I think doing more stuff like this can help you guys kind of stretch out that stuff a little bit.
So I'm trying. I'm looking at my. Oh, so yeah, here we go. I'm going on my phone and finding an example for you, so you can kind of see it. So like here is a McDavid
Yep.
materialistics that has the auto on it. I wish the lighting was better. Sorry, there is an auto hiding. There's you can kind of see it. But
Yeah, we
anyway,
get it.
um, so you know, for the like before, and keep in mind this set was built a couple years ago, which means the sets before that were made a couple years before that.
Sure.
And there was a lot of talk about innovation. There was a lot of talk about trying new things, and we tried some new things. And you saw like we tried to, things like the lamp lighters is something that having acetate on a on rainbow foil board. So it's something different, something that's usually not in the cup. We wanted to try it. We wanted to try. I wanted to
Wait,
try
wait. Can
color.
we stop there for a second?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I don't think it's just me, but I think some cards like they have to marinate a little bit. I think lamplighters over time is people are really kind of catching on to those.
No, I agree. And so I hope that they catch on to chemical composition. No, I'm just kidding.
Mm,
No, but then there's this like, okay, well, let's try to mess with levels and colors, and that's what chemical composition came from, and it just didn't work. It wasn't executed correctly, and it just didn't work. So around this time, building the set, I wanted to build. I'm just like I'm tired of innovation that's like different. I wanted innovation that was a little more cup oriented.
it's like
So
incremental changes versus like the big swing
yeah,
factor.
so this is an insert that I absolutely love. It is my favorite new insert that we built in the set, and it's because it does remind me of a cup card, and it's something different, but it definitely reminds me of a cup card. It's a card that can be part of that family. It's a card that I foresee in future cup sets from year to year. I think this is my honorable numbers or logo patches or whatever. There's a nice area for a photo. There's
Hmm.
a nice big chunk of stick. There's a nice big chunk of patch. Um, which is high end premium material, which is stuff that you expect in the cup. So and it's designed very well, and it's got a lot of nice foil to make it kind of pop out even more. So this is probably, like I said, this is probably my favorite new insert of the whole set. And this is just get I used to coach soccer, and I would always like these people would come in and try to do all this fancy stuff, and
Yep.
I like you gotta sometimes get back to basics. Like you can't do this fancy stuff if you don't know all the basics. Not saying that I didn't know all the basics. I'm just saying sometimes you got to get back to basics and figure out how to elevate that. And so that's what these cards are. And I could go on and on about these, but I've already talked about 5 minutes about them.
Is this the most gold foil ever used in the cup?
No, no,
Really?
I think the foundations have more foil than this.
No, I'm saying overall, just in general. Like, can you not have cool limited logos because you spent all the money on foil? Is that what you're trying to say?
Gold foil costs just as much as silver foil. It's when you use spectrum foil that's when it gets really pricey.
Stop
That
getting
stuff's
tricky.
like that stuff's like 3 or 4 times more than regular foil.
Okay. Here's another one with OV. That one looks again pretty cool. These are awesome. I agree. I like them. Oh, there's the
Oh
McDavid.
shoot, yeah, I guess that's the picture I just showed you.
Yeah, got the
Guess
new
guess where they got the photos from.
yeah, from you. Oh, yeah, another one, Ray Bork. Oh, that's kind of sweet. So it's not just a patch. Looks like I don't know what that would be. Piece of glove, probably.
I have to
Again.
look, honestly, I have to look at the build because I took a picture of that because I wanted to ask my coordinator what it was. I mean,
Mhm.
I can go on the master checklist and find it out. I never looked, but I don't know if that's jersey or glove or what it is.
Oh, when we have a Leafs legend, Eric Lindros, and an autographed
Yes.
monumental patch. Here's kind of a cool booklet. Another very, very nice one.
A little a
AM34.
little outdated.
Yeah. Oops. See, this is why. Wow, that was just like a couple months ago. We're looking at the Austin Matthews monumental patch. What happened on this one with the? You guys gonna redo it or no?
For what?
Oh, you didn't see? it looks like was it a two stage process to stamp it 101?
Ah, very interesting.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay.
No, it will not be redone. Um, but yeah, didn't see that one.
Happens. Well, it's a 101, so it's not
Yep.
like there's a better version. I really liked these dual shields, and what I appreciated this year, we talked about it on our show a little bit, is it gives you an opportunity to kind of do some interesting combinations that,
Mhm.
like, you think of like Gretzky and Lemieux, and of course everyone would want that. But I think like some of this year, were like Kaprizov and Ovechkin was an example where it's like, huh, obviously you got the Russian connection
Yeah.
there, but it's not a couple guys that you would naturally maybe put together. And so,
So
thought
we
that was
we
cool.
stepped we stepped away from dual shields for a while, and part of the reason is the shields got bigger, and so you need a specific amount of space to be able to put the
Mm,
shield on there. And so when we built this, it was just they're like, we can't fit two shields. I go, yes, you can. I go, one, the shields are smaller, and two, I don't mind. Like you see, like yes, we missed like the little top part and maybe the little bottom part. I go, I don't need to see the whole shield. You're seeing the important part of the shield.
yeah.
And I would rather, instead of not be able to do cards like this, to be able to, come up with an even bigger card that, like, my goal and my hope is that they just put two really good players together. Like, you don't want to see a, a Gordie Howe, Joe Valeno, dual shield or something like that. It's just, like, you kind of
I think
stay away.
Joe's mom would like that, but you're right.
Yeah, right. You try to stay away from like younger guys sometimes, because you just there's man, if you would look and see some of the combinations that LeBron James was on some autograph and memorabilia
Yeah.
cards, it's and as a Piston fan, I'm sorry for any of those Darko duels on
Milicic?
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to apologize to the Joe Valino family now, or should we do that at the end of the interview?
No, I mean he decided. I mean he signs with us. He's great.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Just wanted to give you the
I'm a
opportunity.
Wings fan. We signed him. He's
All right.
back.
Got again some quad material cards. Looks like these are tags. I'm going to say something controversial. You may have heard this on our show. I prefer I know tags are rarer, but I think you guys should like flip it where like put the tags out of 15. Well, maybe there's not enough tag. And then because I would prefer like awesome patches in the lower
Yeah,
north.
and I think you'll see that in the future, because don't think there's any use to any of the tag anymore.
Oh, okay. There we go. We got the Adidas booklets. Are you guys going to do a Fanatics booklet?
I think you might be seeing the last of an insert.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, I think that would be a hard pill to swallow
I mean,
for that.
maybe they can make logo or like logo stickers, but yeah, no, we this one's gone. We'll make better inserts.
Okay. Ooh, no, shots fired. Shots fired. Wait. Got to do it for you. Got to do it for you. Wasn't planning this, so give me a second. Okay. Thank you. Moving along. So we have the '05 retro
Mhm.
RPAs out of 10, like this with our Minnesota Wild guy, Matt Boldy. Question for you here. Very important question. What's more iconic? This 2005-06 tribute RPA design or the '03-04 exquisite RPA?
Um, the I think the 0304,
Okay.
honestly, these do sell. These can sell for more than the 0304 because they're numbered to 10, and I
Yep.
believe the exquisites are higher numbered. And these have a big, from a hockey standpoint, these have a bigger following, but from a mass
Because of
collectors,
LeBron.
yeah, because of the
Yeah.
mass collectors, they're drawn towards it because they're both beautiful designs, but the exquisite one is just a little more special in the hearts of collectors.
Gotcha. NHL Shield 101s. We got to talk to Brant about his pressing down a little harder on the marker there.
Yeah, but at least it's not like initials. Like
Yeah, there you go.
I can make out his full last name.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. These are awesome. So, is this that spectrum foiling? Is what you're talking about?
Yeah, and this is kind of funny because when I saw these in person, I was like, "Whoa!" Like I see the mock-ups on my computer screen, and so you don't see the shine. So I'm just like, "Okay, it's kind of silver, it's gold, it's all right." And then when I saw them in person, it's just like in your face, shiny, and they looked really nice. I was
And we're
very
talking
happy
about
with
the
it.
exquisite collection rookie auto shield 101s. The example that you guys put in your gallery is Lucas Reichel. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
imagine that these have crazy shine
yes, they
in
do.
lots of colors
They are very
in the
bright.
right light. Here's the 0304 exquisite limited logos tribute, correct?
Yeah, I did this for a year or two. I just really like the design, but what I
Hmm.
did was I think I did it last year, started last year. I added a level of acetate to it, and acetate and spectrum
Hmm.
deco foil always seem to really work well together. And it just what's the word I'm looking for? It enhanced the card, a beautiful looking card. It made it even nicer.
Slavkovsky's auto's starting to change a little bit, almost like he's signed a fair amount now, and he's getting a little quicker with the bit, huh?
It varies. Yep.
Okay. Oh, another Wyatt Johnston monumental rookie patch booklet. And so these are not game used, right? Limited logo is the only one that's game used.
Limited logos are the only gamers, I believe.
Okay. I think we're almost through. On Power, beautiful monumental rookie patch. Yep, that's through the list. All
Okay,
right.
now we can go through the 200 cards that I took pictures of if you want on my I'm just joking.
Hmm.
Yeah, see here's the sepia card you were talking about earlier. Ooh, look at that. See how the
I
blue
like that a
pops?
lot too.
Yeah.
What's your favorite new card?
Oh, materialistics, without a doubt.
Mhm.
Like that's one that I can hang my hat on and say like this is going to be part of the cup for years to come.
Is there a card that didn't work like you wanted it to?
Um like I wouldn't put it in the realm of chemical composition, but the on displays, they're just tough card. They were tough cards to make. Being able to
Oh,
do all the
so
die cutting, with the
okay.
die cutting with the letters and stuff like that. I think we actually lost a number of them because of the letters getting like destroyed and stuff. But I kind of wanted like I've done the frameworks card, and I wanted to do like a full display kind of thing that
Hmm.
people collect. And I talk with the UDA guys a bunch, and as I said, I look at pictures and artwork and stuff. So that was kind of the inspiration of doing like again almost like a frame jersey, but like a big kind of on display. There was a couple of examples of stuff that I had seen, and it looks a little. There's Party Pat just walked behind me.
Party time, Pat.
Um,
Yeah,
Party time Pat, but yeah, he's waving.
he's
But
waving.
they're not bad looking cards. Don't get me wrong. I stand behind them. I just they don't have as much razzle dazzle as I was expecting
Yeah, I
from
think
them.
that's the feedback that I've gotten is that they're not bad designed. They just don't feel like a cup card because they're kind of just plain jersey
Yeah, understand.
in some ways. Is there a way to like get a patch in there in the future, or because of the die cuts used, that would be impossible?
Um, well, yeah. Again, you probably won't see that one coming back. I put a lot of money into the die cutting for that. Trying to I basically there's times when you're looking for more content and you're looking for
Yeah.
I needed more jersey cards, and so I wanted to enhance a jersey card, and that was the attempt of enhancing a jersey card. It looks better than just a regular jersey card, but I think we probably could have gotten it a little bit better, but that's
Okay.
that's on me.
I think all in all, this set is pretty awesome. I think you guys did a great job. And sure, there's anyone can nitpick here and there. And I'm serious
Did you
about the
say
GoFundMe.
anyone or everyone? Because everyone. No, I'm just kidding.
No, anyone and everyone probably. We can start a GoFundMe for better jerseys. That's a something that we'll probably not think about. And just a couple of quick more questions. So I'm gonna like in product management, right? We use like the term product roadmap. What can you say, like, over the next, like, 5 years? Like, what's your vision for where the cup goes?
Um, this is our high end product. We're able to use the word the cup because the league said if you we'll let you use it as long as it's your best product.
Mhm.
And so the prices, it's costing more and more to produce these cards. And even on the back end, it's cost like prices are going up from other people too. So you have to kind of understand that and um, build products that people are going to feel comfortable paying that price for. And so I think we're in the future we're gonna step the game up a little bit. Like we still have to have all the content that people are expecting,
Yep.
but from an additional content standpoint, I feel that knowing what I know and what I've already built for the next 2 years, um, I can say that the level of content has gone up. The how stuff looks, how stuff feels, what stuff's printed on. Keep in mind too, Gene started here about a year or two ago.
Yep.
So
Big fans of Gene. Shout out Gene
we're gonna
McLeod.
we're gonna be having stuff that I've worked with her on starting to come out in the cup in the future. I think 23, 24 might be the first year. So, I'm not saying that I think the people that work on the cup do an amazing job. It's a high-end set and they treat it like a high-end set. And um so if you get a design that you don't like, it's probably because I gave them bad direction. I'm never going to blame my designers for anything because a lot of it has to do with the direction I give
Yeah.
and my ideas, but and our ideas as a team. But and they execute what I ask for, and a lot of times they exceed what I'm looking for in the designs. They do a great job. um but I can say what Gene has brought in. When I sit there and say I want to try new things, Gene has been able to say, okay, hey, I just, talked to a vendor and we have this paper. Like, I think this would look really good for something. And a lot of times Gene will come up to us with ideas and we find homes for them. And Gene coming to my desk is one of my favorite things because I know I'm going to have something cool to look at and find a home for. Or if I have an idea, like, I'll say, hey, I'm going to be working on the cup here soon. Think of a few ideas of stuff I can do, and she's done that. So um,
If Gene goes to Tony's desk, do you get mad?
I do, I really do. I thought she'd come up to my desk. So
Mhm.
um, but yeah, if she goes anywhere else, I know she's giving them something cool or showing them something cool that she's done for their sets, and then I get jealous because
Yeah.
no, I don't. I want to see what it is because it's probably something really cool. But
Okay,
so
I have a next question for you.
I answered the question, right?
Yeah,
Basically,
you did.
expect something that you're getting your money's worth out of it,
You're
and
typically your typical Billy answer, non-answer. We all get it.
with the increasing price. Well, I can't talk about the future stuff. You know that,
I have one kind of futures question that I'm hoping you'll
okay?
answer. 2023, 24, the cup. If you had to say, is it coming out sooner or later? Which would you say?
So, we did 9 months. We caught up like the last
Yep.
since the last one.
Yep.
I've been told it's going to be less time than that.
Oh,
So
sooner.
I'm crossing
Nice.
crossing our fingers again. A lot of it is the back. When I say the back end stuff, it sounds like I'm referring to us. A lot of it is getting stuff, being able to have time to get stuff printed, and then a lot of the stuff has to do with players signing their stuff. So,
Mhm.
sometimes it's the printing gets delayed because of stuff. Sometimes, I mean, there might be something that's misprinted, and then you have to go back and print it, and then you have to have time to reprint the stuff that was misprinted, and that delays stuff even more. Um, but our goal is to, get this caught up. So I was told even less time this time, but we'll see. I don't quote me on it. Although I know that the clip you're gonna like post is basically just gonna be that clip right there of me saying less time than last year, 23,
And we're gonna
24
edit
the
out
cup.
me not knowing about limited logos, and we're gonna post
Right?
every
Yeah.
horrible clip of you. Of course, you know how the game works. I have okay. Now I have a suggestion. And I understand. It's like Steven Spielberg doesn't want somebody at lunch coming up and pitching him a movie idea, but this is so good, Billy. I can't keep it to myself.
Before you say that, just so you know, like years ago, we Chris Carlin found on Twitter, I think like a 10-year-old that had a design idea, and we ended up putting in a set. So what you're telling me right now is I'm going to get another idea from a 10-year-old
Yeah, pretty
to
much.
put into a set. Perfect. Let's go.
It's a set idea. SP Legends Signature Edition, huge hit. SP Legends the Cup, Billy. Billy, think about
That's
this.
expensive. That's
Well, you
expensive.
don't think people will pay? Troy said he would empty out his 401k. He's not here again because he apparently doesn't like you. But
Well, yeah,
the
what happened? I got and then
he's gonna work.
uh Baba Louie is like he's behind the scenes. He doesn't even get to be on here and ask any questions. Like I never get the guys in there with me. It's always you. Like am I
We don't
not
trust you with
special?
anyone else. We don't
Am I
trust
not
your team.
special enough? Like
You're special in a different way.
oh,
Um,
I want
but
I want the whole
honestly though, is
group.
that not a good idea? I mean, just tell me that that's a pretty good idea. I know. Don't go. Your mind goes through how much money it's going to cost, and Grant's going to hate it. But it is a good idea, right?
A high-end legendary set is always a good idea. A good idea.
Like,
Um, but the one thing I've loved about the alumni deal, and I've made all of the alumni deal sets so far. I think Ingrained is going to be the first one that I don't build. Um, but I'm amazed like that people will have Facebook groups just for chronology, like full on Facebook upper deck chronology Facebook groups, and I go on there and love the enthusiasm, love the passion of those guys. So
mhm.
yeah, it's a great idea. The only problem is being able to, like you said, have the materials and have all the stuff available to make like all these inserts for legends.
We believe
Maybe
in
it's
you.
a,
You can make it happen. You can do it. We'll pay for
it
that.
would it would have to have a very small print run. I'll tell you that much.
Mhm. Well, I mean, did you see? There's a
Yes.
Wemby box for unlicensed for 8 grand. So apparently in this hobby, people will pay. Breaking news.
Oh
There.
no, they're paying grand to buy it initially. That's going to be 20 grand once people figure out they won or didn't win.
Yeah.
Like some they're gonna it's a beautiful they do an amazing job hyping stuff up. Amazing. And
Hmm.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I meant
No, of course.
they get people excited about stuff. And he's a great player. So
It's good to have
um
the competitive juices flowing. I think it's good for you guys
see
to.
people talk about monopolies being bad from the standpoint of there's no competition. I can tell you there's plenty of competition because you don't think that we're seeing what other companies are doing, whether it be Tops, Fanatics, Leaf, Panini, and want to make better stuff than they're making. Like with it's not just within the sport, it's all sports. We're all
Yeah.
trying to outdo each other in whatever we do. Like I want to build a hockey set better than they build basketball sets or baseball sets or football sets or pickleball sets. I want the hockey sets to be the best sets out there. So there is competition. People who make those comments, I'm telling you right now, there is competition just between the companies to make the best sets, and that's healthy. And I hope I hope the customers are rewarded by that.
What's your next set to come out after the cup now?
That's a great question. I think Series One is coming out in a month. I'm
Hmm.
really excited about it because, like we were talking about themes and stuff like that, and I do go through theme processes and things in my head. And there's a gaming theme to Series One, and what
Hmm.
I mean by that is there's an actual 100 card insert, and it's called gaming, and then there's different things, and it's like PV,
Yep.
PvP or aimbots, or there's all these different things associated with games. And what that allowed me to do was have cards with imagery that's really never seen before. And I'm not like, oh my gosh, this isn't like crazy inside stuff, but like how often do you see pictures of players from behind? but look what they're looking at. It's usually like a player at the front, they're doing, or they're skating towards you and stuff. It's kind of a no to show the back of a player. I don't know if you remember, and it's actually in this set. There's a Temu where he does the famous, his
Yeah.
famous shot, and there was a question on whether or not to even use that in full force, because in the goal insert, because we weren't showing his face, and like stuff like that isn't done very. I'm not saying it's like super rare or whatever, but it's just different imagery that isn't used very often. So that's
Hmm.
kind of fun. There's holograms are back. We haven't done holograms in almost like 8 or 9 years in
Those
series
cards look
one,
awesome. Very
and
excited about those.
it's a living set. That's what's great about it, is you're never going to see these guys again. Like, these guys are given specific directions, because we don't like to use legends in our flagship. So I'm like, hey, if these guys are going to retire next year, make sure they're in the first
Hmm.
set, because we might not get a chance to do them. So we have that. We have some other Easter eggs that I'm looking forward to, but the set in general, we've already done some case checks and stuff overseas, and I've been told that the cards look great, that all the corners are rounded. That no, just kidding. Uh, that happens.
12% gem rate.
Yeah, it happens one time. No, the funny thing is, those cards still gem. Um, but it happens one time in one series, and that's the first question that everybody always asks about flagship for the past 2.5 years, is about the corners of the cards. Um, but yeah, the set looks great. There's a lot of hit potential in there, which I'm excited about. The outbursts are back. And like I said, there's some huge Easter eggs. Look, I'll put it this way. We understand that the number one pick's not going to be in there. It's pretty much established now. Number one pick's the series two kind of thing. It's almost like series two has become the old series one. That being said, we knew we'd had to step up the game on series one, because Celebrini he's not going to
Not
have
going
his
to be
young gun.
there.
He's not going to have
Right.
his young gun in series one, so we have to have some sort of big hit, a more big hit potential.
Yep.
And so we've done that, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited for you guys to see it. There's a lot more like kind of rare chase cards in the set. So yeah, series one's my next one. But that being said, I know Tony's got a monster coming up with Opeachy Platinum. I
Yeah, we're
think is
talking
out
to him
a
next week.
week. Yeah, it's a week after, and that set looks amazing. um I'm excited for him for that. I mean, I can only imagine what the bounty's going to be on the Bedard Superfractor. The retros are some of the coolest retro
It's
designs that
called
I've seen
Golden
in
Treasures.
years. What did I say? Superfractor?
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. Wow, Golden Treasure. My bad.
Uh
Um,
oh.
you said you're gonna fix stuff in editing, yeah. The Golden
Well, that's
Treasure.
getting clipped for sure. We're gonna boost that.
But I got so excited about it. I wasn't
Yeah.
talking while thinking, but I guarantee there'll be a bounty on that. The retro design looks amazing. Probably one of our best retro designs we've done for that set. The inserts and the content just look great. A lot of color, and I'm excited to see that one for sure. And the funny thing is, like, people will be like, "Oh, why did you?" The cup just came out. The cup has their type of buyer, and I
Yeah.
think Platinum has another type of buyer. So yeah, they're close to each other, and they're both monsters, but I think they're monsters for different buyers. Now there are people that collect both, and for that I'm sorry, but for the casual fan, I think they like Platinum for the whales. Like, that's kind of like the cup sort of thing. So
Hmm.
those are the two sets coming out in the near future. Also, Team Canada Juniors, but you're from the U.S. I'm from the U.S., so you might not be as
I'm from
excited, but
America.
I know that's
Yeah.
coming out pretty soon, and I've literally been told that product is loaded. It's got some first
Nice.
time cards for some really big players and prospects. So we're excited about that.
I have one more
Yeah,
question for you before
yes.
I let you go. If I would have asked you 6 months ago what the over under is that the Bedard Gold Alpers 101 has not surfaced by mid September, what do you think the odds of that would have been?
If you asked me right when the product came out, or if you
Yeah.
asked me
Yeah,
when
like when the product came out, if it would go 6 months and that card hadn't.
I wouldn't have thought that was the case. The problem is, and we saw this at the expo. There were a lot of people sitting on series. Some people are saving, like, just hey, this is going to be worth a lot of money in the future. The other thing is people weren't buying boxes like 3 or 4 boxes like they would Series 1 normally because the price was 4 to 500 Canadian. That back in the day that would have bought them 3 or 4 boxes. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And that's still not the case with those boxes for people to buy a lot of it. So I think a lot of people are sitting on it. And the thing is, they're sitting on it earlier than like they sat on it for McDavid. People people were like the prices of the boxes, even McDavid's rookie year, didn't go up as substantial as it
Nope.
went for Bedard, not even close. And it was more people were buying it and willing to pay a little bit more because they were excited to try to get that young gun, as opposed to thinking about McDavid years down the road. Um, and so no, I thought it would have been pulled by now.
Mm.
I was telling somebody it kind of reminds me of the Crosby from the first year of the buybacks, the rookie auto patch, where that didn't come out for a long time, and then some kid got it as a Christmas gift, and that was kind of cool. Like I'd love to see that card being ripped live. I don't think it's going to happen now because I don't think you're going to see live rips of Series One. That's the only thing I'm bummed about it, not the only thing, but that's one thing I'm bummed about is I think we're past the point where, boxes of I'm sorry, series one, series two is necessarily ripped case by the case on for by breakers. I think
Yep.
boxes of it is thrown into like multi-box breaks, but it's
Mhm.
not, you don't really see like, okay, we're doing a case of series two right now, go. That being the case, I guess no one's found it on EPAC yet, so that's the real reason.
Ooh, yeah, we
I'm
know it's not
just
any.
I'm
I
just
kind of
joking.
lied to you. We have one more question. You do Parker's Champions, right? That's your set.
I did the first year.
Okay, you pass it along. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I don't. Well,
You
we've
want
taken up a lot of your time. Congratulations on, I think, releasing all in all a pretty good set, and we'll be looking forward to sooner what we've learned today when 2023-24 comes out. And I guess to recap, well, what did we learn, Billy? We learned that notable nameplates are not numbered. That was an accident. We learned that limited logos for rookies are game used materials, or I guess I learned that because apparently I'm dumb and
you
didn't
knew
know.
that. You knew
I
it.
didn't know that. We learned that it'll be a swan song for for the team logo card. This is a highlight for me. Any other highlights for you before we let you go? Or
Um, it's always a highlight being on here.
oh man,
I just wish I want the gang. One of these days I want to be on the gang. I want to ask people like um I want to be able to inform people that it costs more than $2 make a box of MVP. I want to have some fun with the whole crew. But
okay.
you just
We'll have you
you
co-host
keep
a show at one of these
you
things.
keep me to yourself, which
I do.
I don't mind. But like I know Baba Louie was here. I saw him
Well,
earlier
he
in the
wanted to ask
thing.
a Parker, so I'm going to bring my Louis. Do you have a question for Billy?
Yes, Louis. I got the gang.
Billy!
I mean, I had Grant here. I had Patrick walk past. I think Tony might have said something.
Ooh,
Like
it's party time, Pat.
I
You
had
got to call him by his
everybody.
name.
And I even wore an upper deck hat today. I'm pretty excited. They gave those out. Otherwise, you would have seen my Detroit Lions hat, and then you would have given me an earful about how Minnesota's in first place of the North right now.
I can't do the rope
Mm.
thing. All hats have the rope now, and I'm just not about the rope.
Um, and by the way, like the row the boat thing was cool when he did it at Western Michigan, but
Oh,
yeah,
stop.
come on. Oh,
Leave it.
you know what's funny? I was in North Carolina when they were playing North Carolina, and so everybody was like excited. Like we went to the bar after packing stuff out, and the game was on. I still love the fact that what didn't the fireworks went off when they missed the field
No.
goal at the end of the game? Like, yay! Oh, sorry
We
about
have a
that.
Yeah.
hockey legacy, not so much. Well, in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, we in the Bronco Nagurski era, right? We were football dominance, but it's been pretty slim pickings since then. But Baba Louie, do you got a question about the cup for uh, Billy Celio, known for some of his greatest hits include Cheddar,
Cheddar.
Hundo P, and Chemical Composition.
Yeah. Oh, don't forget thermal threats.
Oh, thermos. Oh,
That's
okay.
that's
I kind of
in
like.
that is in the Sal Berry Hall of Fame of worst insert cards.
Oh, great.
I was pretty proud of that, to be honest.
What's your question for Billy Baba Louie?
My question was, it's actually about Parker's Champions, which is just my favorite set on the face of the earth.
Okay.
But my boy, there's no Madonna legend in there. What happened?
Ooh, you did him dirty. You
That I
did
don't
Baba Louie
know.
dirty.
I mean, I'll do something for you though. I'll show you a card that you'll love and
Oh,
that you'll
great.
spend a lot of money. So we're gonna have a cup conversation here without you
Good.
even knowing it. But I gotta find it. It's gonna take me 2 seconds. I apologize.
That's fine. You keep looking. I will say bang up job on the cup though. I do like it. It's really good looking.
I was very pleased with how the cards looked. One thing that I don't think was mentioned, and it's constant like card condition. This is a tough set to have, because they're thick cards. They go through a lot of hands and whatnot. But I was actually pretty impressed with the like they're not all gonna be tens. Okay, hate to say it, they're not all tens, but I think the card conditions looked a lot better than I had seen in previous years. That I
I've
think will make people
heard good
happy.
feedback on that as well. That quality control and corners and edges for what the set is are pretty good.
And we as a company have to be aware, like, hey, if you put black. Oh, there's another thing I have to mention to you too that I can't believe you didn't mention. Shoot, where is it? It's a horrible headshot, and I felt bad. But the card is that it? Nope. The card is one that
It's a
you're gonna
Madonna
like.
card.
It is. It is. Oh, there it is. Here you go. What,
Uh,
he has a
What's
materialistic.
going
hey,
on with this? What's
hey,
going on
buddy.
with this bucket
His
there?
helmet, his bucket's a little too loose.
I know. I said the picture is a little rough, but he
That's
has a
nice.
materialistic card that came up.
Hmm.
Something that you didn't mention, I'm kind of surprised. Guess who has hard signed content in 22-23 the Cup?
Kaprizov.
Exactly.
Oh, we heard about that at Rookie Showcase. Your guy Tony told us that you guys have, worked things out.
Yeah. We have we had our moments when we were trying to get the previous Cup stuff out, and um Kaprizov is having a blast signing now. He's been a real good signer. Our talent acquisition guy, made a positive impact on his feelings about signing cards. And we got to deal with them, and we're able to put hard sign content. And the thing
Nice.
is, some
That's
of those
cool.
cards, and I know people that have the rookie auto patch is going to be frustrated, but the cards where he's hard signed is actually from the rookie year. So when we knew we weren't going to have him and we had to make the decision of stickers, it was one of those things where there were some inserts that we had to pull. But we held on to those cards, hoping that maybe down the road we would get them, similar to like Eichel. So we held on to these cards, and um, we're able. Like, you don't want to redeem a one-on-one card of something. So imagine, having customer service deal with a one-on-one that never comes in. So there are some cards
Yeah.
like that where it's just like they're so low numbered, you just don't want to risk it. And then there's others where it's just like we just put those cards aside. So there is hard side content, rookie content for Kaprizov now that will be in this year's cup,
Sweet.
which I think is also nice.
That's a win. We'll take
Yep.
it. All right, Billy. Thank you so much. You've been very gracious with your time. We'll probably chat with you then as we get closer to Series 1 and the Fall Expo. Yeah, any parting shots?
Yeah, Louis, that was
Yep.
probably the best
Probably
question
the best question.
I've
Yeah.
heard all day,
Good.
from anyone.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us. I know that Josh was just like holding you back the whole time, but I'm glad that we were able to convince
He's like
him
a
to.
caged lion, Billy. He's like,
Yeah.
let me out of the cage. Let me out.
Let me play.
So, all right,
Yeah,
man.
and
Well, thank you so much.
thank you, and good luck to the Tigers. They're only a game and a half behind the Twins. We're going for that last wild card. So crossing my fingers. There might be some smack talk if somehow we pull that off. I don't think we will, but it's been weird having the Tigers actually back in the playoff talk at least.
Talk, yes.
There we go. All right, man. Talk to you later.
You too.
Billy was kind of fun today, huh?
Billy was riled up. Felt like good positive energy.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, I haven't watched the whole thing, fairness in reporting, but I watched a good chunk of the first part of the interview. But yeah, it's a big day. It's a fun day when it's the Cup's coming out. A lot of breakers breaking it, watching some of those. And it's good to get Billy's insight as he's the product manager that built the set.
Yep. He kind of has sort of like the same experience like actors do. When you like make a movie, a lot of times the filming finished 3 years ago.
Yes.
By the time the movie came. And so then they're
Yeah.
on like their press and publicity tours. And
No
they're
clue what
like,
they did back then.
I don't remember what I did like this morning, let
Yeah.
alone 3 years ago.
Yep.
So it must be a little challenging for Billy in that regard because it's probably 2 years ago when
Yeah.
he finished building this set. But great info, a lot of nuggets. Gonna bring surprise Baba Louie. What? Oh, hey, who?
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, whoop.
What did you think of the Billy interview?
I like that Billy didn't know that the foam was new.
Yeah. First thing I noticed, because I cringe every year when you watch like breakers.
It's like
And-
jamming their fingers. in
Oh,
the
that
drink.
foam is so tight. And now it's like loosey goosey in there, and it seems like it's a better foam. And some of the breakers too, who were used to kind of that super tight seal on the
Yeah.
foam, like they almost dropped the hole because they tipped over. It's like, oh, all the cards almost fall out. So
Yeah.
yeah, big breaking news. You get breaking news like that on the Hockey
Yeah.
Cards Gongshow podcast. With this
Yeah.
new foam
Now-
with the
New
cup.
foam.
I haven't listened to the end of the interview. Did you get him to drop any nuggets? Did he break anything? We've been asking for 2 years for him to break something on our show, and
I don't know.
he kind of broke one thing and got got in trouble for.
What do you think, Baba Louie? Did he say anything new? I guess you have to listen, Troy. You
I
have to listen
forgot.
to your
All
own
right,
show.
maybe I'll
It
listen.
helps the ratings. So there you go. Well, thank you, Billy. Very much appreciate you coming on. And overall, everyone there did a really good job on this version of the cup. Oh, he did say, Troy, that did you see the part where they're doing away with hand numbering? Very emotional about that.
Oh no, I didn't. That
Yeah.
stinks. 2 times. Well,
Yeah.
but it's only on autograph cards. So, because the players don't number them. So I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but I understand the reasoning.
Okay, we're gonna roll quickly into new product releases, and not a lot to go through today. We just talked to Billy forever about the cup, of course, but I did want to go through 2023-24 ice and look at some early top secondary market sales. So ice now was released already a few weeks ago on September 5th. It's early, right? We know, but it's also fun to check in after a few weeks and see who and what cards are being chased. And because it's 2023-24, we pretty much know who. You want to take a guess, Louis?
Sorry,
Where's
I
the-
had to mute. Sounds like I got an elephant upstairs.
Oh, you need to go look into that?
Uh,
Covered by insurance? I don't know. Okay.
no,
Who
go
do
on.
you think is the big chase in 2023 ice?
Walker Doer.
Good guess, but totally wrong. No, it's
Oh.
Connor Bedard.
Damn.
So maybe
So-
it's more of a matter what cards, right, Troy?
Yeah, and so 23-24 ice came out at $200. We were seeing at the Minnesota Card Show 150. Is that what we saw at the table?
Yeah.
And I just looked, and it looks like maybe 180 at some of the on. This is all US dollars.
So it's trending down. This might be a
Yeah.
fun, cheaper box by the time Expo rolls around.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I got my couple of boxes. I'm still excited about my 21-22 or no,
Mhm.
yeah,
Love
21-22
that set. Yeah, love that set.
bonus pack, all on card autos.
So we're gonna look at the top 5 early secondary market sales. Got to give a little forewarning here, though, guys.
Get ready to get to frost.
Well, it's just not very like visually titillating. A number of the bedsies this year are redemptions. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to have many beautiful pictures of redemptions to look forward to. All right, here we go.
All right.
Remember, all sales made via eBay have been verified as paid for in Terapeak. And we're looking at the top 5 public market sales, public secondary market sales for 2021. For
I'll zoom
eyes,
in
24
really
eyes.
close for YouTubers.
First one is number 5, Bedard Ice Premier's autographs on a $199 redemption. Sold for $1,034 on September 9th. So beautiful redemption. It's my favorite redemption number. Number 4 is an exquisite collection. Rookie signatures out of 49. So rookie auto out of 49. Redemption. Sold for $1,922 on September 8th.
If you're watching on YouTube, this is the best picture of a redemption card I've ever seen.
And it probably is. I mean,
it's really clean and bright and
could be in the Redemption Picture Hall of Fame. Number 3, a Bedard Sub-Zero Rookies Green Auto out of 25 redemption. Sold for $2,180 on September 9th. So we're 3 for 3 with redemption so far. Number 2, an exquisite collection Bedard Future Legacy Quad Material Auto out of 49 redemption.
It's a one touch.
Redemption. That's kind of funny. That's the greatest. I didn't notice that. That's over $4,408 on September 12th.
So this is what exquisite future quad. Okay. So has this got an auto on it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Quad
there
material auto.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it says it right in the front of my face.
And number 1, exquisite collection Bedard 0304 Tribute RPA out of 25, which is raw, sold for $16,000
Crazy.
on
Great card.
September 10th.
Hot dang!
Family show.
That's dang. Do you know that? It is hot.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. So that's a lot of money, guys. 16 G's. Beautiful card.
Man, that red looks pink. I've just noticed that. It could be it's probably the photo more than the card, but
it is a 3-color patch, but there's no red or yellow in it.
Yeah.
Still a beautiful patch.
Looks like a doily.
It does look like a doily.
Ricky Doily Auto. Well, Billy did say they're having a hard time finding jerseys. So maybe we got to move on to doily cards now. It's also the 6th highest selling Bedard card to date. It is, I mean, it's a great card. It's a smart card. It's what I would say, quote unquote, investable Bedard card.
Yep.
Holy cow, 16,000 for a rookie of 22 goals. A lot of dough. Good. Best of luck to whoever bought it. But what you do have to say about Ice is for, a not very expensive box, you can pull some heat out of that. There's a lot of $150-ish products where you're not pulling a $16,000 card, even if it is a card.
Well, it's what Ice. I mean, I know Black Diamond and the Cup obviously are the exquisite products, right? That have exquisite in those.
Yeah.
So anytime an exquisite card's in there, you can hit some big ones.
Just one other quick note, too, is 2023-24 OPG Platinum comes out on the 25th. That is just about a week from today, next Wednesday. Checklist is out. We're going to break it down for you on Monday's show. And then we're working on having Tony Sirianni from Upper Deck on next Thursday's show as well. All right, it's time for our Fanatics Collect weekly preview. Fanatics Collect is a partner and sponsor of the show. We're incredibly grateful for their support. The Holy Grails auction takes place in New York City on Tuesday, September 24th at 7:30 Eastern Time. It's where some of the hobby's most expensive Grail cards will be auctioned off. Currently, guys, there's 33 cards slated to hit the auction block. No hockey cards, though, unfortunately, in this first one. Very curious to see how it plays out. I'll be trying to watch next Tuesday as that goes live. I think having Sotheby's and their brand attached is just another example how Fanatics is working to level up the entire hobby. So, very, very cool that they're doing that. Also, as of right now, today, their partnership with CGC for on-site grading and lightning fast turnaround times is live. So when you submit cards either to the weekly auction or the vault, you can have them graded by CGC for just $9 with an expected turnaround time of 1 day. They literally have an office. at
I was like,
Fanatics.
are they in the building? Same building?
Yes,
Awesome.
permanently.
That's cool.
Permanently. Very, very cool. And then finally, the Fanatics Collect weekly auction is live, ends this upcoming Sunday night. There's always significant and cool cards in the Fanatics Collect weekly auction. This week is no different. Troy, our very own Baba Louie, and myself have each picked out a vintage and modern card to highlight from the current weekly auction. I'll start with my favorite vintage card. So I had to go with this 1951 Parker's Gordie Howe rookie PSA 1.5, which is a fair grade. That's fair. This card also has the Fanatics Collect exceptional eye appeal, putting it into the top 15%.
Of all
did not get-
1.5s, right? Top 15% of all 1.5s.
Did not get any Kessel Dog ratings, though, so the owner didn't discriminate for that. Now, owning a Gordie Howe rookie card is a hobby grail, I would think, for just about anyone. Louis, do you want a Bobby Gordie Howe rookie?
Absolutely.
That's the correct answer. What about you, Troy?
For sure.
Now, that being said, most of us don't have 20, 30,000 or so or more to spend on one. So if you're not a hobby whale with endless pockets like Troy, this is a card that I actually think you might want to look at. Yes, it's a PSA 1.5, and that does make it relatively cheap. But it also happens to be a very, very nice PSA 1.5 with really good eye appeal, especially for the grade, hence the exceptional eye appeal rating. We might think PSA 1 or 1.5s as, having like torn corners, endless creases, and are being like horribly off-centered. And many very low grade cards do have those characteristics. Not this one, though. Centering, I think, is beautiful for 1.5.
Yes.
The issues are, of course, is there's two kind of creases on the right side. There's one that goes up and one goes down. There's corner wear on all four corners, and there's some edge wear on the right side as well. Now, when you're looking at lower grade vintage cards, there's really, I think, two main considerations. First, there's going to be flaws.
Yep.
But do the flaws on this particular card distract from your enjoyment or the eye appeal of that card? And then secondly, and this kind of goes hand in hand, but are the flaws ones that you can live with, or are they ones that drive you nuts? Like, I don't like horribly off-centered cards. And so a card could have perfect corners, perfect edges. And I just, every time I see the card, I think about how off-centered it is, and I can't enjoy it. Where a card like this, that it has really nice centering, I can live with the corners, especially because they're somewhat uniform there and symmetrical. All in all, again, a pretty nice PSA 1.5. Now, what I did do, just to kind of hammer the idea home about how important eye appeal is, I went and I found another PSA 1.5 to compare this to. So the one on the right is the one in the Fanatics Collect Weekly, and the one on the left is another same great card. And when you look at the one on the left, if you can even zoom in on that one, Troy, a little bit, you see there's almost no comparison. It's hard to believe that these cards have the top edge is mangled. One in the corners, it was literally bent in half.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why you can't just buy vintage cards based on a grade.
Yes.
You have to heavily factor in eye appeal.
Because watch it, same grade.
Same grade.
It's unbelievable, the difference.
So I don't know. Now the one on the right, the biggest issue is that crease. I've thought about that a lot. Like, is that something that would bug you in the one in the Fanatics Collect, or because the crease is kind of away from Gordie, does it not bother you as much?
Here's a question I got. Would you be willing to send this to like a Kurt's Card Care and see if he can get rid of those?
Yeah, you'd think it would be a perfect card for that.
I don't know what they do with creases. I've never used those services. I've never.
Well, there's a way to use like moisture and humidity, I think.
Yeah.
Basically,
I'm curious. That would be an interesting thing. But yeah, I mean, the one on the right, I mean, this should go for a pretty penny compared to this one on the left. But
there'll be I think a big difference in. For my own personal enjoyment, there's a part of me that would want to consider that. That might be sacrilegious to say, but here's what would hold me back: is I'd be terrified of ruining the card.
Yeah,
because while these are on the affordable spectrum of Gordie Howe rookies, there's no cheap Gordie Howe rookie.
No,
I don't care what the condition is. So And just like looking, last sale of a 1951 Parker's Gordie Howe PSA 1.5 was $4,306 on August 24th.
Yeah.
All-time high 5178, so $5,178 in December 2021. And I looked at that copy. This one in the auction is way nicer.
Well, I'll just say I feel like this will go far or higher than that 5,100.
Yeah, no, the other one was pandemic times, so you got to kind of balance that out. But
Yeah,
if it
Not a
went
good
for $5,000, I wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised at all. So that goes back to that whole like Kurt's card care thing. If I have a $5,000 card and he wants to like dunk it in like dish soap water, I probably not. What would you do, Louis?
Leave it.
Yeah, I would just enjoy it, I think. There's part of me too that, it feels like an older, like, would it, of course I would want a PSA 10 if one existed. I don't think it does for the monetary value, but these really old cards, it's like, if they're too perfect, they almost don't even look real. They feel more like a reprint to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Agree. Yep.
I like that kind of vintage feel. You got a current bid?
Oh, it's current bid. Let me look. Not that. 2,500 US.
Okay. Troy, you're up.
I'm up. All right. Here we go. Since we talked about him just recently on the Almost Greatest Tour number 21, I found this card. I thought it looks awesome. 1996 Summit Hockey, Peter Forsberg, number 142. It's a PSA 7. PSA Pop 101, baby. There's no other versions of this copy graded at PSA. So have at it. So I, again, am definitely stretching the definition of vintage as 1986. Probably doesn't fall in most people's realm of vintage hockey cards. But like I said, I've been digging Forsberg cards ever since we did the Almost Greatest Tour number 21. And I saw this one, and I just think that all of us are fans of 90s cards. So I'm like, I'm going to do this one. It looks really cool.
He's like breaking the fourth wall a little bit. Like he's like, you know how like in cartoons, like one of them would come out of the TV screen a little bit?
Yep.
Doctor Strange kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I totally dig that it looks like like to me, I like when the card I can look at it and be like, yep, that's a 90s card or an 80s card. To me, this totally looks like a 90s card. So it fits the vibe. I like the design. Even the back of the card, they took some care. They did some extra stuff, got a different picture, things I like. So I like that. And then I have never seen this before, but on his stats, it's actually broken out by conference and then against the conference average. I don't think I've ever seen that on the back of a hockey card, and then versus the NHL and then an NHL average. I thought that was just pretty wild and unique. I think the 90s were a wild time. They were just trying something different. I don't know what was going on, but like you look at it and it's just like a bunch of numbers. Doesn't really make sense until you see that on the far right, what they were trying to do, but it's pretty cool. All right. So one thing about this card, and I failed miserably, but I kind of panicked and found some examples. There's parallels of this card, and some of them are kind of hard to tell now. Obviously, like I said, I panicked. I didn't get the Forsbergs. I remember where they were in the form on TCDB, and so I got the Yzerman examples. Here's I know I said it. Wiser. I'm just gonna call him Wiserman. Yzerman. I got it. So here's the base card. That's the base right there. And then there's also an artist proof that there's a parallel of that, and you can tell that obviously on the left-hand side it says artist proof. So that one's pretty easy. There's also an ice parallel. It's got like a kind of a blue holofoil thing going on in the back. Then there's a metal card, or a metal parallel, I should say, that has like a flat silver background. This is where you get in where like some people have a lot of trouble telling the base apart from this one. And then finally, there's a premium stock one. And this one I think is a little thicker card, but there are parallels of these if you are interested in going to look at those or finding the different versions that are out there. But again,
was this the inspiration for Artifacts and like 900 Parallels?
I wonder. But so again, Peter Forsberg, 90. What do I got here? 96 Summit. I think it's a great looking card. This is a PSA 7. Obviously, it's the only one graded. Only copy at PSA for the base card. It's very nice looking. There's, if you look in the upper right corner, if you're watching on YouTube, I can zoom in. You can see there's kind of some chipping right there. And we always see that on like black border or black cards, like run to the border. You always see usually you see something like that. Maybe it's at the bottom. There's something back. Obviously, a lot of people don't care about the back, but it looks pretty good there. So I'm assuming that chip was probably a chunk of it. And left edge has some little bit of wear here and there. But overall, good looking card. And this card did sell in the Fanatics Collect on August 18th, 2024, and it was paid for. So I don't know if someone had buyer's remorse or what, but someone bought it for $6 way back in August on August 18th. Current bid is now $5 US.
When shipping costs twice their card.
Yeah. I guess if this only went out, the only graded copy. If you're into graded cards, I mean, this is the one.
We have one more vintage card, and it was Baba Louie's pick. Which one did he go with, buddy?
Went with a 1987 O-Pee-Chee Luke Robitaille. Just kidding. Robitaille. Rookie number 42, PSA 10. Robitaille wore number 20. Thought I'd pick that out. And was featured here by our Troy in his rundown of the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number.
I never heard of it. Is that a new segment he does? Or?
Little on Mr. Robitaille before I dive into the card here. He's drafted by the Kings in the 9th round, 171st overall. His name wasn't called until more than 100 spots after a baseball pitcher from Massachusetts. Remember who that was?
Tom Glavine, baby.
Yes.
Tom Glavine, yep. There we go. You just gave it away, Louis. You highlighted it.
I know.
On the notes. Oh, okay. So the North Stars didn't need him, apparently? Is that
Guess not.
what happened? Okay.
Must not. At the end of his career, some stats for him, he had made 8 NHL All-Star teams with the record for goals by a left winger with 668 and points with 1394, as well as the Kings franchise record for goals with 577. He finished second to Dave Taylor in games played, which is 4th behind Marcel Dion. Anybody going to Toronto might be able to see this guy there.
Yep.
Mr. Wayne Gretzky. And again, Dave Taylor in assists with 726. I can't even read my own writing. We'll move on. Robitaille was named the Kings President of Business Operations on May 25th of 2007. He officially had his number 20 retired on the 20th of January in 2007 by the Kings. On June 23rd, 2009, it was announced Robitaille would be inducted into the NHL Hockey Hall of Fame. In 2017, he was named President of the Kings.
Jeez.
Also in 2017, he was named one of the 100 greatest NHL players in history. Now that I fumbled through all that, on the card, there's one flaw on the front of the card. And if it's not on the slab, it's in the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
And I was trying to be super picky looking at stuff on this just because it got a 10. If that was that.
Oh, yeah.
That would drive.
It looks like a little staining.
Does it look like it is on the card?
It looks like it's on the slab to me because it actually bleeds out of the card. So
gotcha.
Okay, good.
I listen, I look at it. If you're interested in this card, look at it yourself because that's a big piece right here.
California Dave might like this card. Isn't Robitaille's guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, the other thing too, I look every time I see this uniform, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that these exist. I just have never. Have you guys ever seen like a Robitaille or Dave Taylor or anyone like Kings Limited logo with a big crown patch in it?
I thought I have, but
that would be so awesome to have. Love to have something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like the yellow and purple colors, but. All right, Lou.
Okay, real quick, then I'll move on to the back. The only other thing I didn't like on this card, granted, we don't know if that's on the card or the slab in the front. On the back, on the bottom, it looked like there was a little discoloration. If you zoom in, you can tell it doesn't look the same as the sides and the top. So I was being super picky because it was a 10.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody's interested in this, just
Yeah,
the
that's
little things that I found.
is this an old? Yeah, so it's an older slab. So something to look out for when you buy older slab cards is maybe the card can change after it's been in the slab for a while. So
You and
that's
Troy
always-
are two peas in the pod on a back because I forget cards have backs, and you two are. It's good. You're like laser focused on making sure the back is up to snuff. I like it.
If it's a 10 card, I'm gonna look at the back. I want it, if it's gonna be gem mint, if it's gonna be pristine, I want the card to be that way. But other than those two, the reason I picked this card is, Josh, like you pointed out there, I love those Kings jerseys. This card just stands out. The whole repeat. The whole PG rough cut looks awesome. Anywho, last sale of this card was January 12th of 2024 and went for $775. And current bid right now, we're sitting at $260 USD.
Sweet. All right, we're going to move on to Modern. I had the first pick in Modern. I went with the 2005 Upper Deck the Cup, limited logos, Alexander Ovechkin, rookie patch auto out of 50, PSA 8. Not only is it a rookie year Ovechkin limited logos, the patch is insane. Love this patch.
Coming back, too.
Yeah, I remember, it's game used, apparently I didn't know, but it is game used, rookie material. Now, the thing about the patch, and I even hate bringing this up, but I think Troy.
Oh, you got to. It was the first thing I thought about when I saw it.
I thought that's what I was going to ask you is because we got to know, Cup expert, masterclass instructor Mitch Grotman, who also has Fake Hockey Patches Instagram account, which is an awesome site and service he does for the hobby.
Yeah.
You look at a patch like that and you're like, is this legit? And when I say that too, you got to understand, Fanatics would never know. They don't authenticate patches. It's in a PSA slab, so this has nothing to do with what Fanatics would have any control, knowledge, or purview over. The only thing that you ask your sellers or consigners or auction houses to do is when a card's been identified as obviously having an altered patch that, typically they kind of step up and do the right thing. So I reached out to Mitch and I said, check out this card. Is this patch too good? Or what do you think? And his feedback is a lot of the OV patches from this limited logos are very, very nice like this. And he has no specific reason to think that this particular card, number 5 out of 50, has anything or any issues with it. So that's a pretty good endorsement for this particular card. Again, not that Mitch knows, because really nobody knows, because the Upper Deck doesn't know, right? And that's just something we all have to live with. Now, the other issue with these cards that's important to talk about, if you can zoom in on the auto, Troy, remember going back to our masterclass, we learned with these very early versions of the Cup, there was a coating that was placed on the cards by accident that made them not gel well, or it'd be the best surface for signing autos. So you get a lot of what's the term used, bubbling? Is that the kind of, or was there a better term?
Bubbling was more at the stature. This more is just I don't know what you want to call it. It's not sticking. It's
it's just
not faded. It's just not.
Same issue that happened with Stature in 2019. The reason why I want to bring it up is just, in full disclosure, and to don't look at this particular auto and say, oh, this one copy has a bad auto. I went and looked at, I think I could find 5 pictures of 5 on card letter sales history, and 4 of the 5 had a worse auto condition than this. It's just something that comes with this card is a condition issue that is due to that coating being placed on the card, and there's nothing we can do about it. But knowing that, it doesn't bother me as much. If I knew all 49 other autos were perfect, I think, and there might be 1 or 2 that didn't have that bubbling or whatever issue it has, and but I could only, like you said, find about 5 of the cards. So the card's amazing. Obviously, an amazing player. The patch is ridiculous. It's game used, and now there's only 50 of them from the first cup set, and so yeah, I think it's a pretty awesome. Oh, and the other thing too is PSA 8, which I think for a 2005 Cup card limited logos is a fine grade.
Yeah, that's a
You're
win.
not gonna- That's like a PSA 20. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Yes.
So
Boy,
I don't know.
You know, I complain about logos a lot, but man, I love that old school Upper Deck logo. That's I
Okay.
like it with the
I was
green.
just
Changing
going
your
to
tune,
ask you
Troy.
about that.
Changing your tune. What do you think of this, guys? Does the auto, is that too big of an issue for you, or can you live with it?
I can live with it. Like you said, all the other ones are like this. You are mostly like this.
Yeah.
It's part of the condition of the card. It's what happened at the time. There's no way around it, so I can live with it.
What about you, Bobby Louie? What do you think?
I'm in. I like it.
Now, last sale, the 2005 The Cup Alexander Ovechkin limited logos out of 50 was last August when a raw copy sold for $5,174 US. All-time high sale is $13,933 US for another raw copy in November 2022. You got a current bid?
$5,750 US.
That's pretty strong at this point in
pretty
the
strong.
auction.
Mhm.
Yeah, for a card like that.
Especially if you want to say 8s equate to raw. Usually, or that's some people use that rule of thumb. But
all right, Troy, you're up next.
All right, here we go. Got a short one for you. 2000. I just love this picture. 2023 Exquisite Collection Tandems Bobby Orr, Phil Esposito out of 299. Okay. I love this card. One, for the fact, I think the photos on it are fantastic. I'm always
playing son.
Yeah, it looks like that. I like when photos, I probably have seen these photos somewhere else, but they didn't jump right in my head. It's like, oh, that's the photo I always see. So I really dig that. You got a young Bobby Orr. Obviously got like a buzz cut. And then you have Phil Esposito, who's got just awesome flow going on with his hair. And he's got hockey mouth. So like Josh said, hockey mouth. Well, this is a 2023 card, but again, this looks fantastic. Now, if I had to, one thing I don't like about the card is where the logo is of the Bruins. I don't like that it's not in the center of this shape right here. However, I know why it's not.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's not
Well,
centered.
that's where they put the numbering, which is kind of, I mean, I get it. And that's what forces that logo up. So I don't know where, if you bring the logo center, now where do you put the number? Do you put it here, here, there? But that's the only thing that kind of was like, but now that you see that that's where the serial number is, okay, that makes sense. And again, this was an Exquisite Collection card. This one is specifically from 2023 Black Diamond. So like we said before, Exquisite can come out of Ice, Black Diamond, or the Cup right now. And this one came out of Black Diamond. Card is raw. It looks in really, really nice shape. Now, obviously, if you zoom in, you can see there's some edge wear going on. You can see this upper right corner might have something that's like a little whitening up there. Right edge, you can definitely see some spots here and there, but the surface of the card actually looks really nice. The heat map does, I didn't bring it up, but the heat map, if you look at that on the Fanatics site, they put like a heat marker on the back. There might be like a surface issue going on. And the back has some chipping on the back, on the edges and stuff. Now you can see here's where I complain about the back of the card because it's the same picture as the front. That's what I don't like. I like different pictures on the back, but that's just me. I guess I'm weird. Josh, nice blended in Upper Deck logo right here. I'm going to just say that on every card I look at from now on.
I always count on you for that. Well, the one comment I have in this card is, and I haven't done research, so I could be totally off base here. I don't feel like you see too many, like we see Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier cards all the time. Wouldn't you think there'd be more Bobby Orr and Esposito?
Well, I was kind of thinking, how many years did their careers overlap? So I'm going to look right now because Orr was basically 66 to 79. Yeah, Esposito had to be right in.
Yeah, they played together.
Oh, they definitely played together. I didn't know if they were. Esposito 64 to 81. So yeah, they basically played all Bobby Orr's. Well, he played for the Blackhawks to start. Esposito did.
And then Orr played for the Blackhawks to end.
To end
like
it,
the whole You ever hear like the whole Abraham Lincoln and John Kennedy thing? Like Lincoln's secretary was Kennedy and
Oh,
Kennedy's
yeah,
secretary was
yeah.
named Lincoln. Yeah, this is
Yep.
that whole deal. I don't know. It's kind of a cool card. I like that
Yeah,
you
I
picked it.
dig it. I dig it. It's just kind of jumped out at me. Last sale I could find was on August 22nd of 2024 via eBay, verified at Terapeak for $24.95 US. Current bid is $13 US. So this is a card definitely going to be affordable. It's not going to break the bank, and it's just a cool card. A couple really good Hall of Famers on it.
Where does the reference "break the bank" come from?
Where's break the bank?
We said it's not going to break the bank. So I'm wondering,
break the bank. I don't know. Break my bank account by taking all my money out of it. I don't know.
but how they? Yeah, we'll have to look that up. There's got to be some sort of like old school, like piggy bank or something like that reference. All right, one more card, Baba Louie. Looks like a doozy too. I'll let you go ahead.
Make it nice and short though, so I don't stumble over my tongue again here. 2019 Upper Deck Stature Red. Wayne Gretzky Patch Auto. 1 out of 3. Number 99 PSA 8. Had to choose this one. A, for my love of stature. B, it's a Gretzky. It's got a patch, auto, but what is that patch? Can you guys tell?
It looks leather, so I'm guessing a glove, maybe.
Is it the inside of the Jofa? Like the Jofa lining?
But that's like I'm assuming this is stitching or used to have stitching.
Yeah, well, the stitching was pulled out of it, right?
Yeah. My thought is a glove, but
I'm into stuff like this. Like I love patches just like the next guy or gal. But when you get these kind of like weird materials, I'm all about it. We talked about the Gordie Howe one in the cup.
Yeah. But this is where I complain. Put it what it is.
Right. Yeah, I did read the back.
Stop
and I
saying
had no
game
idea.
used hockey memorabilia. Tell me game used glove, game used jock strap. I don't care. Just tell me what it is.
Not to be like Upper Deck defenseman, but what I think happens, right, Troy, is I think the card is produced and then it goes to like North Carolina or whatever to their memorabilia center, and then memorabilia gets inserted after.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
So maybe they didn't know actually what was going to be in it at the time the back was printed, is what I'm saying. But I'm not saying that doesn't invalidate your point, because your point is 100% correct. Yeah. I mean, change your process then, right? So we know what the memorabilia is.
Yeah.
I think I answered my next question that I had written down on here, though, after looking at the other two cards. I think it's just the way they take the pictures. Now, are these newer? These aren't the newer slabs, but it looks, the way they take the pictures, the dang cards almost look like they're in a sleeve. Like if you look at it is in a sleeve?
Yes.
Okay.
I hate that.
I'm not losing my mind. Okay. Then what's the deal?
But that's probably a good thing for stature in 2019, because it might get the crap scratched out of it if it's not. But I have my Pavel Bure Essential Credentials that looks all janked up because it's in a sleeve, and the sleeve's all wonky.
Okay, well, that answers that question then. Onto the card. I mean, it's a beautiful card, but I did dive in a little bit. Troy, on the front left, 3/4 of the way down, it looks like 3 little dots or something might be on the card, or is that the slab?
Looks like the left edge there too.
Yeah, there might be some surface issues. That was definitely a hallmark of stature, early stature, with surface issues. So
again, though, I think just like the OV limited logos for 2019 stature at PSA 8 is not a horrible grade. It just isn't.
No. And then on the back, what did I see other than the reflect? Oh, up at the top, it looks like if it's a reflection, it looks like it's got to be a double reflection of either the sleeve up in the top left and top right. There look like there's 2 matching spots about, I don't know, 1/2 inch in on both sides. Or is that?
Yeah, I think that's the sleeve.
I think that's the sleeve too.
Okay, it's just me looking too deep into it, which I shouldn't, because this is an awesome card. I can't wait to see what this does, because it's already over what it sold for back in May of 2023. It did sell for $1,025 USD, and currently it's sitting at $1,250. But a 1 out of 3 red stature Gretzky auto, something. It's amazing.
Yeah, first year stature too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful choice. Beautiful card. Now you can bet on these 6 cards and all the other amazing hockey cards available this week at fanaticscollect.com. Personal pickups. Troy.
After my wax buying
Mhm.
spree, I have nothing.
Baba Louie.
Empty.
Ooh. I have one. Pretty excited about it.
Wow.
Oh, you
Bill's
did.
not here to crap on it. So I got the 2023-24 credentials. Jaromir Jagr 1991 Retro Pro Vision. 1 in 40 pack odds. Now, when we did the credentials preview, this was the showstopper to me. I was very, very excited about this card. Identified it right away. I was able to snatch it up on my card post from our friends at Morrison Trading Post, who I'm sure we'll see at the expo. A very nice LCS in the Calgary area, and more importantly, run by a great family and great people. Now, unfortunately, the card doesn't come with the flames in the background. Apparently, those are sold separately. So, didn't get those. All right, boys, we did it. I'm tired, but we made it. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, want to support us, want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join the out of $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description within our podcast app and podcast apps and YouTube and our Instagram, TikTok profile. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or go to Patreon directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. This program is on social media. So, hey, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And boys, the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Have an amazing weekend. We'll be back with Phil for another super show on Monday. All right, Louie, take us out.
Bye.